Welcome, thrill seekers and ghost enthusiasts. Tonight, we're diving into the dark and eerie corners of America's drinking scene. From colonial taverns with centuries of secrets to modern pubs, haunted by tragic figures, these 25 haunted bars are not just about spirits and glasses. They're about spirits that refuse to rest. Many locals avoid these establishments after dark, swearing that something otherworldly lurks among the clinking glasses and dimly lit corners. So, grab your courage, and let's take a spine-chilling tour through America's most haunted watering holes. The White Horse Tavern in Newport, Rhode Island, is more than just a historic bar. It is a living testament to centuries of human stories, both joyous and tragic. Established in 1673, it proudly claims the title of America's oldest tavern, and its walls have witnessed the unfolding of history in ways that have left an indelible mark on those who enter. But beyond its charm and colonial architecture lies a darker, more mysterious side. Over the years, patrons and staff have shared unsettling encounters, tales of ghostly presences, and inexplicable happenings that suggest some spirits have never truly left. And candlelit corners evoke an era long past, and for some visitors, this atmosphere seems more than atmospheric. It feels alive with unseen observers. Stories of strange occurrences have been passed down for generations. Guests often report seeing fleeting figures dressed in colonial garb, moving silently along the halls or seated at tables where they had no business being. Some have described revolutionary or soldiers, their uniforms immaculate despite centuries having passed, raising a toast or gesturing as if trying to communicate across time. Others glimpse shadowy patrons sitting quietly, their expressions solemn, as though the weight of centuries of history rests upon them. The upper floors of the White Horse Tavern hold some of the most persistent stories. Once serving as a boarding house, these rooms were home to travelers, sailors, and settlers, some of whom never left alive. Today, visitors report hearing footsteps above when the floors are empty, or the faint sound of conversations and laughter drifting through the halls. Doors sometimes open or close without cause, and chairs have been known to move as if pushed by invisible hands. Staff members have long accepted that these unusual occurrences are part of the tavern's character, though they still admit to feeling a chill whenever the upper rooms are disturbed. Some paranormal enthusiasts claim that certain spirits are tied to the tavern through unresolved business or tragic events. Tales abound of sailors who perished at sea but were given lodging at the tavern upon their arrival in Newport. Patrons have reported seeing these figures peering out windows, as if longing for a home they can no longer reach. Others speak of colonial tavern-goers who met untimely deaths during disputes over politics, land, or family honor. These restless spirits seem bound to the tavern, replaying fragments of their lives in ghostly loops, visible only to those sensitive enough to perceive them. One particularly persistent legend involves a revolutionary soldier who reportedly appears near the bar on certain nights. Witnesses describe him as wearing a tricorn hat and long coat, his face lined with weariness and determination. He is said to move from table to table, observing patrons, and occasionally gesturing toward a doorway or window before vanishing entirely. Some believe he is reenacting his last moments in Newport before being called away to battle, unable to rest until history has fully acknowledged his presence. Ghostly interactions are not always visual. Many visitors have experienced cold drafts or sudden drops in temperature in specific areas of the tavern. Despite the warmth of the bustling bar, some report hearing whispers that seem just out of reach, carrying conversations in languages long forgotten. Objects have been known to shift slightly, from bottles on shelves to chairs at tables, enough to make attentive patrons pause and question what they are seeing. Even experienced staff admit to unexplained feelings of being watched, or of footsteps trailing just behind them when no one is there. Despite these eerie occurrences, the White Horse Tavern continues to welcome visitors. Many come not just for the history or the food and drink, but for the thrill of encountering the unknown. Paranormal investigators often visit, setting up cameras and audio equipment to capture the subtle manifestations of the tavern's spectral residents. While tangible proof is elusive, The sheer volume of consistent reports over decades has given the White Horse a reputation as a genuine haunted site. For locals, the tavern is a place of both pride and caution. They speak of it in hushed tones when recounting ghost stories to outsiders, warning that while a visit is safe, the supernatural presence is undeniably real. Some claim that sitting quietly in the corner on a quiet evening, one can feel the weight of history, the presence of figures long gone, and the eerie sensation of time bending around the old stone walls. Tourists are often advised to keep an open mind and to respect the spirits who still linger. For this is not just a barit, it is a crossroads of past and present, of life and the echoes of life once lived. In addition to the spectral sightings, many report feelings of melancholy or nostalgia. When wandering through the upper rooms, there is a sense that the tavern remembers its guests, that each person who once walked its halls has left a subtle imprint. Some visitors even claim that photographs taken inside the tavern occasionally capture unexpected shapes or forms in the background, shapes that cannot be explained by shadows or reflections. These unexplained images only add to the mystique and allure of the White Horse Tavern, drawing both history buffs and thrill seekers alike. Through the centuries, the White Horse Tavern has remained a steadfast fixture in Newport, bridging the gap between modern life and colonial history. Its reputation as a haunted location is not a recent development, but one that has grown organically from the countless stories and experiences of those who have walked its floors. From shadowy revolutionary soldiers to ghostly boarding house residents, the tavern is alive with reminders of the past. It offers a unique experience where history and the supernatural coexist. A place where one can sip a drink while feeling the presence of centuries gone by. Visitors leave the White Horse Tavern with more than just memories of food and drink. They leave with a sense of having glimpsed something beyond the ordinary, a brush with the spectral echoes of colonial Newport. Whether the apparitions are real or the mind playing tricks, the stories continue to endure, carried on by those who feel the mysterious pull of the oldest tavern in America. The White Horse Tavern is not merely a historic site, it is a living museum of human experience, where spirits of the past continue to wander, and where every creak of the floorboards or whisper in the shadows could be a fleeting connection to those who never checked out. The Spotted Cat Music Club in New Orleans, Louisiana, is more than just a hotspot for live jazz and the soulful rhythms of the French Quarter. It is a place where the past seems to bleed into the present, and where music is accompanied by the subtle presence of spirits who never truly left. Tucked away on a narrow street, this intimate club is known for its lively performances, colorful and unmistakable New Orleans charm. Yet beyond the laughter, clinking glasses, and lively brass instruments, staff and patrons alike have reported experiences that suggest the Spotted Cat is haunted by unseen presences, echoing with stories from centuries past. Even before the first note strikes each evening, some visitors feel a strange energy the moment they step through the doors. Staff members have long reported an unsettling sensation of being watched, as though the patrons of another era are quietly observing every movement. This feeling intensifies late at night, when the club is nearly empty and the shadows of the exposed brick walls stretch across the floors. Guests have occasionally glanced toward empty corners, only to sense movement out of the corner of their eyeshadows, slipping silently between tables, or a brief flash of a figure disappearing before it can be fully seen. One of the most commonly reported phenomena is the sound of disembodied footsteps. Staff members claim to hear pacing in the narrow corridors behind the stage or along the bar, even when no one else is present. Sometimes these footsteps are accompanied by the soft creak of a door opening and closing, though the doors are locked or secured. At times, objects themselves appear to move of their own accord, musical instruments shifting slightly, chairs nudged from their usual spots, or glasses rattling without any human contact. Patrons often dismiss these occurrences as quirks of an old building, yet the consistency of these reports suggests something more mysterious is at work. Some of the most compelling stories involve ghostly apparitions that seem tied to the music itself. Jazz, after all, has a long and storied history in New Orleans, and the spotted cat is no exception. Witnesses have described fleeting figures near the stage, swaying with the rhythm of songs that predate modern performances. A woman in a flowing dress has been seen drifting silently along the walls, her movements perfectly in time with the brass sections, vanishing as quickly as she appears. Musicians have even reported the sensation that someone is playing alongside them, a phantom accompanist, invisible yet profoundly present, whose skill and passion seem to channel the spirit of jazz from another century. Staff members have come to accept these occurrences as part of the club's unique character. They often speak of a playful, sometimes mischievous energy that lingers when the audience thins. Glasses tipped over during busy nights are shrugged off, while a chair nudged across the floor when no one is present is taken as a reminder that the club is alive in ways beyond the ordinary. Yet for first-time visitors, these experiences can be unsettling, sparking a mix of fear and fascination. Some leave the club convinced they have brushed against another world, where the music never dies and the spirits of the past continue to enjoy an eternal audience. A particularly notable account involves a bartender who worked a late-night shift after a private event. She described feeling a presence standing behind her for several minutes, unseen but palpable, before turning to notice that the bottles on the shelves were rattling gently. No one was there, yet the vibrations seemed in rhythm with a distant piano playing somewhere beyond the walls. Other staff have reported hearing whispered conversations in empty rooms, or glimpsing a figure dressed in clothing from the early 1900s lingering near the entrance, watching the comings and goings of the modern patrons. The spotted cat's hauntings are not limited to sight and sound alone. Temperature fluctuations, another hallmark of paranormal activity, are commonly reported. Cold drafts sweep across the club, often near the stage or by the bar, even on humid New Orleans nights. Patrons sometimes shiver inexplicably, and performers have mentioned the sensation of breath on their necks or hands lightly brushing theirs when no one is standing nearby. While skeptics attribute these occurrences to the age and construction of the building, those who experience them often describe a certainty that something else is present in energy, both intangible and unmistakable. For many, the allure of the Spotted Cat Music Club lies in its intertwining of history and the supernatural. The club embodies the very essence of New Orleans, a place where music, culture, and spirits, both living and dead, coexist. The hauntings are not malevolent. In fact, many patrons and staff sense a benevolent presence, as if the ghosts are simply lingering to enjoy the music they loved in life. They are silent witnesses, ghostly aficionados, or perhaps echoes of musicians who once graced the streets of the French Quarter, drawn back to the club by the rhythms they cannot abandon. Visitors who sit quietly in a corner, sipping a drink and watching the stage, may notice subtle changes in atmosphere. A shadow moving in time with the band, a soft laugh carried on a cold draft, or the faint aroma of a bygone era drifting through the room. These are reminders that the Spotted Cat Music Club is more than a venue. It is a living memory, a crossroads where the past lingers and the present comes alive under the watchful eyes of those who came before. Even in the midst of lively performances and crowded nights, the sense of otherworldly presence remains. For regulars, it has become part of the charm, a whisper of history dancing among the saxophones and drums. For first-time visitors, it can be a thrilling, eerie, and unforgettable experience. The Spotted Cat Music Club stands as a testament to the enduring spirit of New Orleans jazz, a place where music and ghostly echoes intertwine, reminding everyone who enters that some patrons never truly leave. In the end, the Spotted Cat Music Club is more than just a destination for jazz lovers. It is a window into the past, a place where centuries-old melodies coexist with unexplained phenomena. Those who step inside are not merely observers, they become participants in a story that transcends time, one where the music never ends, and the ghosts of New Orleans continue to dance, sway, and watch, forever entwined with the heart and soul of the French Quarter. The Myrtles Plantation in St. Francisville, Louisiana, is often described as one of the most haunted homes in America, a place where history and tragedy have left an indelible mark on its very walls. While the grand rooms, Sprawling gardens and iconic antebellum architecture attract visitors eager to explore the past. It is the bar area that seems to hold some of the darkest echoes of the plantation's history. Patrons and staff alike have reported experiences that are both chilling and inexplicable. Shadowy figures slipping through the corners of the room, whispers that seem to carry warnings or lamentations, and the unshakable sensation that the plantation itself is alive with unseen witnesses. The bar at the Myrtles plantation, though modest in size, is suffused with an atmosphere that blends southern charm with subtle menace. The polished wood counters and antique fixtures seem almost to vibrate with the presence of the past. Guests who linger too long often feel the weight of history pressing in, as if unseen eyes are following their every move. Some visitors have reported seeing the faint outlines of figures in period clothing standing near the shelves or by the walls. Figures who vanish when approached, leaving only the lingering scent of old perfume or tobacco. Whispers are a recurring element of the plantation's haunted reputation, and the bar is no exception. Guests and staff have recounted hearing soft, unintelligible voices at odd hours, murmurs that seem to echo off the walls from some unseen source. Occasionally, these whispers form fleeting phrases, fragments of conversations from centuries past, recounting arguments, declarations of love, or bitter disputes. Some believe these voices belong to former residents or workers who suffered under the harsh realities of plantation life. Their spirits bound to the site by unfinished business or unresolved grief. Shadowy figures are another common occurrence in the bar area. Many witnesses describe them as fleeting silhouettes, darker than the surrounding shadows, moving just out of the corner of the eye. Some seem to drift along the floorboards, while others appear to linger near the bar itself, as though watching and waiting for a moment to be acknowledged. One frequent account tells of a shadowy woman standing near the back of the bar, dressed in 19th century attire, her form occasionally illuminated by candlelight or the reflection of a passing car outside. She seems to glide silently across the room, vanishing when approached, leaving behind a sense of cold dread that persists long after she disappears. Staff members report objects moving inexplicably, bottles sliding along the counter, chairs nudged from their usual positions, or glasses tipping over without cause. Patrons have felt cold gusts or sudden drops in temperature, particularly in corners or near the bar's shelving. Some have described a light touch on the shoulder when no one is nearby, a gentle yet unmistakable reminder that the space is not entirely empty. These experiences, while often subtle, accumulate to create a pervasive feeling that the bar is a crossroads between the living and the dead. Stories of the bar's haunted nature are often tied to the plantation's tragic history. The Myrtles plantation has been the site of numerous deaths, accidents, and mysterious occurrences throughout its existence. Some of the spirits are said to belong to those who suffered violent or untimely injuries, workers, or visitors whose lives were cut short. Guests report glimpsing figures near the bar who appear to replay these tragedies as if caught in a perpetual loop of their final moments. One tale speaks of a child's ghost, said to have wandered into the bar area in life, now appearing as a fleeting presence that sometimes peers into the faces of patrons with mournful eyes. Despite the unsettling atmosphere, the Myrtles Plantation Bar continues to welcome guests, though many enter with a mix of curiosity and trepidation. Paranormal investigators frequently visit, drawn by the consistent reports of hauntings and unexplained phenomena. Equipment often registers unexplained cold spots, audio anomalies, and motion that cannot be accounted for by physical sources. While definitive proof remains elusive, the sheer volume and consistency of first-hand accounts lend credibility to the stories that have persisted for decades. Even ordinary moments at the bar can take on a supernatural quality. The clink of glasses, the soft rustle of chairs, or the distant echo of a voice can suddenly feel layered with the weight of history. Patrons sometimes sense presences standing just behind them, glimpsing shadows that vanish the instant they turn around. These experiences, while unnerving, also contribute to the allure of the Myrtles Plantation, a place where history, legend, and the supernatural coexist in a tangible, visceral way. Regular visitors often speak of a strange rhythm to the bar area, as if the movements of the spirits are synchronized with the living world. Chairs shift slightly when no one is near, whispers follow footsteps, and shadows flit in response to the passing of time. Some believe that the spirits are not malevolent, but rather observers, silently cataloging the comings and goings of new guests, tied to the plantation by the weight of their memories and the power of unresolved stories. The Myrtles Plantation Bar, in particular, serves as a microcosm of the haunted legacy of the entire estate. It is a space where the past asserts itself, where the echoes of long-forgotten lives linger in the corners, and where each visitor becomes a temporary participant in the ongoing drama of spirits that refuse to rest. Patrons often leave with a heightened sense of history, a shiver down the spine, and the undeniable impression that the Myrtles is not merely a sight to observe, but a place that watches in return. For those who dare to visit the bar area at the Myrtles Plantation, the experience is one of both fascination and unease. It is a place where shadows, whispers, and fleeting touches remind guests that the past is never truly gone, where every corner holds a story, and every creak of the floorboards may signal the presence of a spirit seeking acknowledgement. The bar becomes a stage for unseen actors, performing scenes of love, loss, and lingering regrets, drawing the living into a narrative that stretches across centuries. The Myrtles Plantation Bar is not just a location for drinks and conversation, it is a portal to the past, a space where the echoes of long-dead residents persist in subtle, haunting ways. Patrons may come seeking the charm of Louisiana history or the thrill of ghost stories, but many leave with a profound awareness that the plantation, and particularly its bar, is alive with the unseen, forever entwined with the stories and spirits of those who once called it home. The Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, is often referred to as America's most haunted hotel, a title earned through decades of chilling stories, unexplained phenomena, and the lingering echoes of tragic events. While the grand halls and opulent rooms draw history enthusiasts and curious travelers, the bar within the hotel has become a focal point for some of the most unnerving paranormal activity reported on the property. Once a hospital for the wealthy, the Crescent's walls have witnessed suffering, death, and despair, and it seems that some spirits who perished here have never truly moved on. Walking into the Crescent Hotel bar, visitors immediately sense an atmosphere unlike any ordinary establishment. The rich wood paneling, dim lighting, and vintage evoke the elegance of a bygone era, but also carry a weight that is hard to define. Staff often describe feeling watched, as though invisible eyes are tracking every movement, especially during quiet hours when the bar is empty or sparsely populated. Patrons have reported a sense of unease, a subtle tension that creeps in despite the inviting ambience. It is as if the past, with all its unresolved stories and untold tragedies, has taken up residence among the bottles and glasses. One of the most common occurrences at the Crescent Hotel bar involves objects moving without explanation. Glasses have been known to fall from shelves for no apparent reason, chairs slide across the floor, and even coasters and napkins have been found in places they could not have reached on their own. Staff members often hear the faint clinking of bottles and dishes during the night, sounds that echo through the empty space, leaving a lingering sense that unseen patrons are still present. Guests sometimes witness these events firsthand, their drinks and belongings disturbed as though by invisible hands. While some dismiss these incidents as quirks of an old building, those who have experienced them report an unmistakable feeling of deliberate movement, as if the spirits are actively interacting with the living world. Apparitions are a frequent part of the Crescent's haunted reputation. Visitors to the bar have described shadowy figures gliding silently along the walls, fleeting images of people dressed in early 20th century attire, and even full-bodied apparitions that vanish when approached. One widely shared account involves a woman in a long hospital gown who appears near the bar late at night, her face pale and expression somber, only to disappear moments later, leaving a chilling coldness in the air. Some witnesses claim to see former patients or staff from the hospital days, wandering the room as though performing tasks that were never completed in life. These spectral sightings are often accompanied by subtle sounds, whispers, footsteps, or the soft rustle of fabric that enhance the eerie sense of presence. Temperature fluctuations are another hallmark of paranormal activity. At the Crescent Hotel bar, patrons frequently report sudden drops in temperature, icy drafts that seem localized to specific areas, and an unshakable chill despite the warmth of the room. These cold spots often coincide with other disturbances, such as moving objects or the faint sound of disembodied voices. Staff and visitors alike describe the sensation of being touched or brushed past by unseen hands, adding a tactile dimension to the already unsettling experiences. These sensations are often brief but intense, leaving those affected with goosebumps and a heightened awareness of their surroundings. The bar's hauntings are intertwined with the hotel's tragic history. During its days as a hospital, the Crescent saw many patients who suffered from illness or injury, some of whom died under mysterious or sudden circumstances. The wealthy who came to Eureka Springs seeking treatment sometimes left behind more than money. They left behind fear, pain, and unresolved stories that seem to echo through the walls. Visitors to the bar often feel that these spirits are replaying fragments of their lives, lingering in spaces that were once places of comfort or routine, now transformed into a stage for the supernatural. Staff have long reported experiences that defy explanation. Bartenders have felt presences standing close behind them. Chairs have been found pulled out when no one is near, and the faint clink of glasses occurs with no human source. Some employees recount the sensation of someone walking past or leaning on the bar, only to find that the room is empty. These subtle interactions, though not always terrifying, create a pervasive awareness that the bar is more than just a physical space. It is a crossroads of the living and the dead, a place where the hotel's tragic past continues to assert itself. Guests are often drawn to the Crescent Hotel bar, not only for drinks, but also for the thrill of the unknown. Paranormal investigators frequently visit, equipped with cameras, audio devices, and other instruments designed to detect the presence of spirits. While concrete evidence remains elusive, consistent reports of sightings, unexplained noises, and moving objects lend credibility to the stories passed down over decades. Visitors who enter the bar with an open mind often leave with a sense of having shared a space with forces beyond the ordinary, a brush with the spectral echoes of those who once walked the hotel's halls. Even during busy nights, when music and conversation fill the air, the ghostly presence remains. Some patrons report feeling watched from shadowed corners, or catching glimpses of figures out of the corner of their eyes, vanishing when looked at directly. Others hear faint whispers that cannot be traced to any living source, murmurs that seem to carry fragments of conversations from long ago. The combination of visual, auditory, and tactile phenomena creates an atmosphere that is both compelling and unsettling, making a visit to the Crescent Hotel bar an experience unlike any other. Despite the unsettling events, the Crescent Hotel bar continues to operate, drawing curious visitors from around the world. Its reputation as a haunted site adds to the allure, offering a mix of history, luxury, and supernatural intrigue. Those who brave the bar often speak of it in reverent tones, aware that they are stepping into a space where the past has never truly ended. Patrons may raise a glass, share a laugh, or enjoy the ambience, but they do so under the watchful eyes of spirits who have lingered for decades, preserving their presence in this historic corner of Arkansas. The Crescent Hotel bar is not merely a venue for drinks and socializing. It is a living reminder of the fragility of life, the weight of history, and the enduring power of unresolved stories. Visitors often leave with more than memories of cocktails or conversation. They carry a sense of having touched something timeless, a fleeting connection with the restless spirits who call the hotel home. The bar, with its clinking glasses, shifting chairs, and cold drafts, is a stage where the living and the dead coexist, where the tragedies of the past continue to resonate, and where every corner may hold a story waiting to be witnessed. The Rusty Nail in Los Angeles, California, has long been a magnet for Hollywood legends, aspiring actors, and the eclectic mix of patrons drawn to its dimly lit corners and vintage charm. Nestled among the bustling streets of old Hollywood, the bar's history is steeped in glitz, scandal, and the kind of drama only the City of Stars can produce. Yet beyond the laughter, clinking glasses, and smoky haze, the Rusty Nail has earned a reputation for something far more eerie. For decades, staff and visitors have reported inexplicable phenomena. Mirrors that reflect figures who were never there. Shadows lurking where no one stands, and an overall sense that the spirits of Hollywood's past continue to roam the bar long after the lights dim. Stepping inside the Rusty Nail is like entering a portal to another era. The worn leather booths, dark wood accents, and muted lighting evoke the feeling of a bygone Hollywood, where actors, directors, and studio moguls once gathered to socialize, scheme, or drown their sorrows. For some, the ambiance is comforting, a nostalgic trip into the golden age of film. But for others, there is an unsettling undertone, since that the bar itself is alive, with memories and presences that cannot be explained by time or imagination alone. One of the most frequently reported occurrences involves the large mirror behind the bar, a centerpiece that has reflected decades of nightly revelry. Patrons often glance into the mirror, only to notice figures standing behind them, men in sharp suits, women in glamorous dresses, all seemingly from another era. When they turn around, the space is empty, yet the reflections remain for a heartbeat longer, haunting in their silent presence. Some staff swear that these figures occasionally move independently of the living patrons, as if the mirror is a gateway for the ghosts of those who once called the Rusty Nail their haunt. Shadowy forms are another recurring phenomenon. Visitors have described vague silhouettes lurking in corners, near the entrances, or along the walls. Sometimes these forms are fleeting, visible only in the corner of the eye. Other times, they linger long enough to evoke a deep sense of unease. Some staff claim to have felt the sensation of someone standing just behind them, only to find no one there, while patrons report chairs moving slightly or coats swaying on racks with no human contact. The shadows often appear most prominently during late-night hours, when the bar is quiet and the hustle of Hollywood feels like a distant echo. Stories of ghostly activity at the Rusty Nail often tie back to its storied past. The bar has long been a meeting place for actors and filmmakers, many of whom live dramatic, sometimes tragic lives. Some of the spirits are believed to be those of patrons who never truly left, actors who died young, performers who vanished in scandal, or those whose final moments were spent within these very walls. Guests have reported hearing whispers of old conversations, fragments of laughter, and faint music that seems to emanate from a time long gone. Occasionally, someone will catch a brief glimpse of a familiar face, only to discover it is someone from Hollywood's past, their image appearing as though frozen in memory. Staff members often recount experiences that defy explanation. Bartenders have felt sudden chills while cleaning the bar late at night, as if someone has walked past or leaned on the counter. Glasses occasionally tip or slide across the shelves, despite no one touching them. Some describe hearing the sound of footsteps on the hardwood floor above, when the upstairs storage rooms are empty. There are also reports of the scent of old perfume or cigarette smoke appearing mysteriously, lingering in the air, even when ventilation and cleaning efforts would suggest it should have vanished. The Rusty Nail's haunted reputation extends beyond sight and sound. Some patrons have felt hands brush against their shoulders or backs when no one is nearby. Others describe a sudden sense of being watched or followed as they move through the bar, a sensation that lingers even after leaving. Regulars often dismiss these feelings as part of the bar's unique charm, but first-time visitors can find the experiences profoundly unsettling. Despite the fear, many are drawn to the Rusty Nail precisely because of these stories, eager to catch a glimpse of Hollywood's spectral past. While definitive proof remains elusive, consistent reports over the years of apparitions, unexplained noises, and shifting objects suggest something beyond the ordinary is at work. Some investigators have claimed to hear disembodied voices. Whether these phenomena are residual energy, active spirits, or a mix of both. They contribute to the bar's enduring mystique. Even during lively nights filled with music, laughter, and the clatter of glasses, the rusty nail retains an undercurrent of the supernatural. Patrons occasionally glimpse shadows darting along the walls, or fleeting reflections in the mirrors that vanish before they can be fully understood. Others hear whispers or quiet laughter from unseen corners. The juxtaposition of energy, both living and spectral, creates an atmosphere unlike any other bar in Los Angeles. Visitors are not just part of the present. They are sharing space with decades, perhaps centuries, of history and memory, alive in subtle, haunting ways. The Rusty Nail's reputation as a haunted location is part of its allure. Guests enter for the drinks, the ambiance, and the chance to be part of Hollywood's living history. Yet many leave with stories of eerie occurrences and fleeting glimpses of figures who never left. It is a place where the line between past and present blurs, where the spirits of old patrons continue to linger, observing and interacting in ways that defy logic. For those who walk through its doors, the bar is more than a venue. It is a living museum of memories, a stage where the living and the dead share the same space. If only for a brief, unforgettable moment. The Buckhorn Saloon in Denver, Colorado, is more than just a bar. It is a living relic of the Wild West. A place where the echoes of gunfights, rowdy brawls, and long-forgotten tragedies linger in the air. Established in the late 1800s, the saloon has served as a hub for miners, cowboys, and travelers, each leaving their mark on the building and, some say, never truly leaving it behind. Today, patrons and staff alike report experiences that suggest the spirits of the Wild West continue to roam its halls. A reminder that some histories refuse to fade quietly into the past. Stepping into the Buckhorn Saloon is like stepping onto a stage set from a bygone era. The walls are adorned with taxidermy trophies, old photographs, and relics from Colorado's frontier days. The atmosphere is warm and welcoming, yet there is a distinct undertone that hints at the building's darker past. Visitors often describe a feeling of being watched, an intangible awareness that the lively chatter and clinking glasses are being observed by unseen eyes. This sensation intensifies in the quieter hours, late at night, when the saloon's bustling energy fades and the shadows seem to stretch a little longer. One of the most commonly reported phenomena involves ghostly figures dressed in period clothing, believed to be cowboys and miners who spent their lives in and around the saloon. Patrons have occasionally glimpsed men in dusty hats and boots wandering the hallways, their forms partially translucent, moving with a purpose that is both deliberate and elusive. Some have described seeing figures raising glasses in silent toasts, only to vanish moments later. These sightings are often fleeting, leaving witnesses with a sense of awe and unease, as if they had brushed against a fragment of history suspended in the present. Cold drafts are another signature of the Buckhorn's haunting. Even in the heat of a Colorado summer, staff and guests report sudden, localized drops in temperature. These chilly gusts often occur near corners, doorways, or empty hallways, sometimes accompanied by the faint sound of footsteps or the subtle shifting of objects. Patrons sitting at the bar have felt invisible hands brush against their shoulders, while servers report bottles rattling or chairs moving with no explanation. These occurrences, though brief, are powerful reminders that the saloon is a space where the past remains palpably alive. The Buckhorn Saloon's ghost stories are deeply tied to its history of violence and tragedy. In its early days, it was a place where arguments often ended in gunfire, and brawls could turn deadly in an instant. Cowboys, gamblers, and miners frequently crossed paths in ways that were less than peaceful, and the saloon's floors are said to be haunted by the unrest left behind by those who met untimely ends. Some witnesses report seeing shadowy figures, reenacting scuffles, or standing silently near the bar, their expressions somber and frozen in a moment from long ago. There are tales of patrons hearing muffled shouts or the clatter of furniture long after the living have left, adding an auditory dimension to the saloon's spectral presence. Staff members often describe subtle interactions with spirits. Bartenders have felt objects moved or glasses tipped without human contact. while waitstaff report hearing footsteps trailing behind them or whispers that seem to emanate from the walls themselves. Some visitors have sensed presences standing close by, catching glimpses of figures in mirrors that vanish when turned toward. These experiences are rarely malevolent, but they carry a weight of history that is both tangible and unsettling. A reminder that the Buckhorn Saloon is not just a building, it is a repository for lives and stories that continue to linger. Paranormal investigators frequently visit the saloon, drawn by its long-standing reputation for ghostly activity, while definitive proof remains elusive. Repeated accounts of apparitions, cold spots, and unexplained sounds lend credibility to the tales. Some investigators have recorded disembodied voices or captured fleeting images on video and still photography, often appearing near the bar, staircases, or hallways where the energy seems strongest. Visitors who pay close attention often find that the saloon offers experiences that are subtle yet profoundly affecting. Moments where the boundary between the living and the dead feels thin and permeable. Even during busy evenings, when the saloon is filled with conversation, laughter, and the sound of music, the spectral presence persists. Patrons occasionally notice shadows moving across the floors or fleeting shapes in their peripheral vision. Servers may feel the sense of being followed through the hallways, only to find the area empty when they turn. These experiences, though often brief, contribute to the saloon's mystique and charm, creating an environment where history feels alive and the Wild West is never truly gone. The Buckhorn Saloon's enduring appeal lies not only in its food, drinks, and historical artifacts, but also in the palpable connection to the past. Guests leave with stories of fleeting figures, unexplained chills, and the sensation that they shared space with the spirits of Denver's early frontier. For some, the experience is thrilling. For others, it is profoundly eerie. Yet all agree that the saloon offers a unique opportunity to step into a living history, where the lives of those who walked before continue to leave their mark. In the end, the Buckhorn Saloon is more than a bar, it is a time capsule, a place where the echoes of violent brawls, late-night confrontations, and everyday life from a century ago linger in the air. Guests who enter are not just visitors. They become participants in an ongoing narrative, sharing space with the ghosts of cowboys, miners, and patrons who never truly left. Every creak of the floorboards, every chill in the summer air, and every fleeting shadow serves as a reminder that in the Buckhorn Saloon, the past is never gone, it is alive, watching, and waiting to be acknowledged. The Ainsworth in New York City is a sleek, modern bar, a vibrant gathering place for diners, professionals, and night owls seeking craft cocktails and upscale cuisine. Its polished wood, minimalist, and bustling energy make it feel contemporary and cosmopolitan. Yet beneath its modern facade lies a history that is anything but ordinary. Built over historic grounds that have witnessed centuries of New York City life, the Ainsworth is said to host the spirits of the past, remnants of an era long gone but not forgotten. Staff and patrons have reported fleeting apparitions, whispered secrets, and a sense that the bar is alive with echoes of a time before glass and steel dominated the skyline. Visitors often remark that the energy inside the bar is different from any other modern establishment. Amid the clinking of glasses and hum of conversation, there is an almost imperceptible weight in the air, as if unseen eyes are observing, judging, or simply watching. Staff members describe moments where they feel as though someone is walking just behind them. Yet when they turn, the space is empty. Guests occasionally glance toward corners or mirrors and glimpse shadowy figures in 1920s attire, their presence fleeting but unmistakable. These apparitions are rarely threatening. Instead, they seem curious, observers of a world that has changed dramatically since they walked these grounds in life. The whispers are another hallmark of the Ainsworth's haunted reputation. Patrons have reported hearing fragments of conversations, snippets of laughter, or hushed voices that seem to float through the bar without any visible source. Some of these murmurs are almost intelligible, consisting of private confessions or secrets from decades past. Visitors occasionally claim to hear mentions of old deals, promises, or scandals, remnants of New York's bustling social and business life in the 1920s and earlier. These fleeting whispers create a haunting atmosphere, as though the walls themselves remember every word ever spoken on the site. One frequently cited phenomenon involves the mirrors behind the bar. Guests have described seeing figures reflected alongside themselves who were never actually present, often dressed in vintage clothing, sometimes performing subtle gestures like raising a hand or tipping a hat. When they turn to look directly, there is no one there, yet the reflection lingers for a moment, leaving a shiver of unease. Staff members have also reported noticing these reflections, particularly during quieter periods, suggesting that the phenomenon is not limited to impressionable visitors, but may indeed be tied to the spirits lingering in the bar. The history beneath the Ainsworth is part of what makes it so compelling and eerie. The site has served multiple purposes over the centuries: commercial buildings, social gathering spaces, and perhaps residences where New Yorkers conducted their private lives. These past lives left traces, some of which appear to manifest in the form of spectral presences. Guests sometimes feel that certain areas of the bar, like the corners near the entrance or the tables closest to the windows, carry a heavier energy, as if the spirits of past patrons or workers prefer certain spaces. Many believe that these manifestations are residual echoes, moments from decades past repeating themselves in subtle, ghostly loops. Temperature fluctuations are also commonly reported. Patrons have felt sudden chills in certain sections of the bar, or localized warmth in spots where no heating source exists. Waitstaff frequently notice these changes, sometimes accompanied by the sensation of a brush against their arms or shoulders, as though someone unseen is moving among the tables. Some have even felt the air shift around them in ways that defy explanation, reinforcing the notion that the bar is a conduit between the living and the dead. Guests often describe moments of uncanny timing, when the past seems to intersect with the present. A group may laugh over a cocktail, only to hear faint echoes of similar laughter from another time. A conversation might pause suddenly, accompanied by the soft murmur of words that seem to belong to someone invisible. Even the clink of glasses can feel layered with history, the sounds of decades of patrons who once shared these same spaces. It is as if the Ainsworth exists simultaneously in two times, one modern and one spectral, each echoing against the other. Staff members, while accustomed to the bar's haunted reputation, often recount subtle but undeniable experiences. Bottles and glasses occasionally shift slightly, chairs are found moved from their usual spots, and patrons sometimes remark on sudden, inexplicable chills. Bartenders report the sensation of being observed while preparing drinks, only to turn and find the space empty. Some have even caught glimpses of figures at the edges of mirrors or windows, disappearing when directly looked at, leaving behind only the faint impression of a presence. Despite its ghostly associations, the Ainsworth remains a lively and popular venue, blending modern dining with a connection to the city's layered history. Many visitors find the hauntings part of the appeal, enhancing the character and mystique of the bar. The spirits, while occasionally startling, seem more like quiet observers than threatening forces, silently participating in the ongoing life of the establishment. Guests leave with stories of whispers, reflections, and shadowy figures, each experience a brush with the unseen history beneath their feet. In the end, the Ainsworth is more than a bar. It is a living intersection of New York's past and present. Patrons sip their drinks and share laughs in a modern space, while echoes of the 1920s and earlier linger in corners, mirrors, and shadows. The spectral presences that call the bar home are reminders that the city's history is never far from the surface, that secrets and stories from generations past continue to resonate, and that even in the midst of contemporary life, the ghosts of New York quietly endure. Visitors leave the Ainsworth not only with memories of food, cocktails, and lively company, but also with an unshakable sense of having shared space with the spirits of a bygone era. Each shadow, whisper, and fleeting figure is a testament to the city's layered history, a subtle invitation to remember that the past is never truly gone, and in certain places, it continues to watch, to linger, and to be seen. The Slaughtered Lamb Pub in Boston, Massachusetts, is a historic tavern with a reputation that blends centuries of legend, local lore, and chilling accounts of ghostly activity. Situated in the heart of the city, the pub draws locals and tourists alike with its traditional wooden beams, low ceilings, and inviting ambience. Yet beneath the warm glow of lanterns and the familiar hum of conversation, the Slaughtered Lamb harbors a history that is darker than most visitors realize. Patrons and staff have reported unexplained phenomena that suggest the spirits of long-dead patrons linger, particularly in the upstairs rooms, once used as boarding areas for travelers and locals alike. These areas are said to echo with the laughter, whispers, and cries of those who never truly left. Even before stepping upstairs, visitors often feel the building's subtle, uncanny energy. Staff frequently reports the sensation of being watched as they move through the bar area, an invisible presence that seems to track their every step. Guests occasionally glance toward corners or doorways and sense movement in the periphery, only to discover that no one is there. Some claim that glasses slide slightly on tables, or chairs rock as if someone has just risen from them. These minor, yet persistent, disturbances create a sense that the Slaughtered Lamb is more than a place for food and drink. It is a repository of memory, where echoes of the past subtly interact with the present. The upstairs boarding rooms are the epicenter of the pub's haunted reputation. During its earliest years, these rooms accommodated patrons who were not just travelers, but often transient workers, sailors, and others whose lives were harsh and short-lived. It is said that the spirits of these former residents remain, replaying fragments of their lives in a spectral loop. Guests who venture upstairs often describe sudden temperature drops, the soft creaking of floorboards, and whispers that seem to carry messages from another time. Some visitors report feeling the brush of an unseen hand against their shoulder or catching fleeting glimpses of figures who vanish when approached, leaving behind a lingering chill in the air. Among the most reported experiences are the sounds of laughter and cries. Some describe hearing the cheerful chatter of a bygone era, echoes of conversations that once filled the rooms with life. Others have heard more unsettling sounds, cries of despair, or muted sobs that reverberate down the hallways. These auditory phenomena are often described as layering over one another, moments of joy intertwined with sorrow, creating a surreal, almost cinematic soundscape that hints at the lives once lived in these spaces. Staff and guests alike often remark on the authenticity of these sounds. They are not fleeting or vague, but detailed enough to suggest the personalities of the spirits are somehow still present. Visual phenomena are also common in the Slaughtered Lamb. Guests have reported seeing shadowy figures moving in hallways, sometimes glimpsed through cracked doors or at the edges of mirrors. One frequently recounted sighting involves a woman in period clothing standing silently near the foot of the stairs, her gaze fixed as though observing the living, before vanishing entirely. Other visitors describe transient figures seated in chairs or leaning against the walls, only to vanish when noticed directly. These apparitions are often fleeting, yet they leave a strong impression, lingering in memory long after the experience has ended. Temperature fluctuations, creaking floorboards, and subtle touches are often accompanied by sudden shifts in air pressure or drafts that appear inexplicably, even on calm nights. Bartenders have reported the sensation of being brushed past while serving drinks, and servers frequently notice glasses or utensils subtly shifting on tables with no one nearby. These experiences, while not overtly malevolent, create a persistent sense that the pub is alive in a way that transcends normal physical explanations. The legend behind the Slaughtered Lamb adds an additional layer to its eerie reputation. The pub takes its name from a centuries-old tale of a lamb slaughtered in symbolic ritual, a story that has persisted in Boston folklore. Some believe that the spirits that linger are tied to these ancient events, bound to the location by the weight of history and superstition. The combination of historical legend, tragic deaths, and the everyday lives of past residents creates a rich tapestry for paranormal activity, making the pub a hotspot for ghost enthusiasts and curious visitors alike. Despite the chilling stories, the Slaughtered Lamb continues to be a thriving establishment. Guests come for the history, the drinks, and the unique atmosphere that blends old-world charm with spectral intrigue. Many patrons enjoy the thrill of possibly encountering a ghost or hearing the whispers of the past, while others find the experience profoundly unnerving. Staff, accustomed to the building's peculiarities, treat them as part of the pub's character, knowing that the hauntings are less about danger and more about presence reminders that the lives once lived here still resonate. The pub's reputation has attracted paranormal investigators over the years, some of whom claim to capture audio anomalies, fleeting images, or unexplained cold spots, while definitive proof remains elusive. The sheer volume and consistency of reports over decades suggest that the Slaughtered Lamb is a place where the veil between past and present is unusually thin. Visitors often leave with stories of laughter that lingers, shadows that move just beyond vision, and whispers that seem to carry secrets from another time. Ultimately, the Slaughtered Lamb pub is more than a tavernette, is a living monument to history, memory, and the spirits that refuse to fade. Patrons may enter for a pint or a meal, but they leave having glimpsed fragments of lives long gone, sharing a space with echoes of those who once roamed the halls. The upstairs rooms, in particular, remain a stage for the unseen, where laughter, cries, and whispered secrets continue to replay for anyone willing to notice. The pub, with its darkened corners, creaking floors, and lingering presences, reminds all who enter that the past is never truly gone, and that in certain places, the dead are never far from view. The Vortex Bar and Grill in Atlanta, Georgia, is famous for its towering burgers, eclectic and lively atmosphere. Visitors come for the food and the bold, irreverent style of the bar, but many leave with stories of a different kind, tales of strange happenings and unexplained phenomena that suggest the establishment is as haunted as it is popular. Staff and patrons alike report experiences that defy explanation. Objects thrown seemingly by invisible hands, doors slamming without cause, and ghostly figures that vanish the instant anyone tries to approach them. For those who frequent the bar, the Vortex is as much a stage for the supernatural as it is a dining destination. From the moment you step inside, the energy of the Vortex feels different. The dim lighting, colorful murals, and bold neon signs create an electric atmosphere. Yet there is a subtle undertone that something unseen is always present. Staff often speak of feeling eyes on them, a sense of being watched as they move between tables or prepare food. Patrons sometimes sense shadows flitting across corners of the room or see brief movements near walls or ceilings, only to discover nothing there. It is as if the bar is alive in a way that cannot be explained by the hustle and bustle of a busy night. One of the most reported phenomena involves objects moving unexpectedly. Staff have described plates and utensils sliding across counters, napkins tossed from tables, and even chairs tipping over without human contact. Patrons have recounted drinks spilling, bottles rattling, and menus being displaced when no one is near. These events are often accompanied by sudden cold drafts or a sensation of being lightly touched. While some dismiss these incidents as quirks of a busy restaurant, their consistency and timing have convinced many that mischievous spirits are at work, interacting with the living in unpredictable ways. Doors are another source of eerie activity at the Vortex. Employees often hear the sound of doors slamming closed in empty corridors or entrances swinging open without explanation. Guests occasionally witness doors moving on their own, opening and closing slowly as though guided by invisible hands. These occurrences are particularly common late at night, when the bar is quieter and shadows stretch across walls and floors. Many believe that the spirits here are active and playful, choosing moments when they can make their presence known to those who are unprepared or alone. Apparitions are reported throughout the bar and kitchen areas. Patrons have glimpsed figures in the periphery, often dressed in clothing from decades past, moving along the edges of rooms or near the windows. Staff members recount seeing translucent forms near counters or along hallways that vanish when approached. One frequently told story describes a shadowy figure appearing in the corner of the dining area, watching customers with an unseen gaze before disappearing entirely. These sightings are brief, but leave a lasting impression, reinforcing the idea that the bar is a space where the past and present coexist. Mischievous spirits are said to be particularly active at the Vortex. Employees often describe moments of inexplicable chaos. Glasses being tossed from counters, napkins pulled from tables, or utensils mysteriously landing on the floor. Patrons report chairs moving slightly as they sit down, or a sudden cold spot near their table that vanishes moments later. These experiences are usually fleeting, but they contribute to the overall sense that the bar is inhabited by spirits who enjoy interacting with the living, sometimes teasing, sometimes startling those who enter. Audio phenomena are also common. Guests have reported hearing whispers in empty rooms, soft footsteps on tile or wooden floors, and the faint sound of laughter when no one is around. Staff occasionally hear these sounds in the middle of the night, during cleaning or late service, and often describe them as eerily distinct, as though someone is speaking directly to them. Patrons sometimes hear faint conversations near their table, only to find the area entirely vacant. These subtle auditory experiences add another layer of tension, suggesting that the spirits at the Vortex are not merely present, but actively observing and interacting with those who share their space. Temperature fluctuations further reinforce the sense of a haunted presence. Guests frequently notice sudden drops in temperature, sometimes accompanied by a shiver or goosebumps. Staff have reported cold spots in hallways, near counters, or in corners of the bar, areas that remain noticeably chill even during the heat of Atlanta summers. Sometimes these temperature changes coincide with other paranormal events, such as objects moving or apparitions appearing, creating a palpable sense of the supernatural. Despite these eerie occurrences, the Vortex Bar and Grill thrives as both a culinary destination and a hotspot for those intrigued by the paranormal. Patrons are drawn to the bar not only for the famous burgers, but also for the thrill of experiencing something out of the ordinary. Paranormal enthusiasts often visit, hoping to catch a glimpse of a ghostly figure, hear the whispers of spirits, or witness objects moving inexplicably. Whether proof is captured or not, the stories themselves are enough to create an aura of mystery and excitement. Even on the busiest nights, when the bar is crowded with conversation, music, and laughter, the presence of the spirits remains. Shadows flicker at the edges of vision, cold spots appear where least expected, and some patrons swear they hear whispers mingling with the hum of activity. These subtle reminders serve as a connection to a past that refuses to remain hidden, a sense that history and the supernatural are intertwined in this unusual Atlanta institution. The Vortex Bar and Grill is more than just a restaurant. It is a place where the past, present, and unseen converge. Patrons enter expecting food and entertainment, but many leave with a story, an experience, or a fleeting glimpse of something that cannot be explained. The mischievous spirits of the Vortex are reminders that even in the midst of a lively, modern establishment, the unseen continues to play its part. Guests who notice these subtle phenomena leave with more than memories of burgers and drinks. They carry the lingering impression of a bar alive with secrets, shadows, and spirits that refuse to remain unseen. The Driscoll Bar, located within the historic Driscoll Hotel in Austin, Texas, is more than just a place to sip a cocktail. It is a living testament to more than a century of Texas history. Since its opening in 1886, the hotel and its bar have hosted politicians, celebrities, musicians, and socialites, earning a reputation as one of Austin's most prestigious and elegant establishments. Yet behind the polished wood, marble accents, and crystal chandeliers, there is a darker, unseen presence. Guests and staff alike have reported strange occurrences, shadowy figures moving silently along the corners, sudden cold spots in the middle of summer, and the sense that the bar itself remembers the tragedies and drama that unfolded over the decades. Upon entering the Driscoll Bar, visitors immediately notice its opulent architecture, the sweeping archways, and the timeless elegance of a bygone era. The atmosphere is inviting, yet there is an undercurrent of tension, an invisible weight that many describe as a subtle awareness of being watched. Staff often speak of an inexplicable chill or an eerie sensation of presence in the bar's corners, particularly near areas associated with past accidents or tragedies. Patrons sometimes glance into mirrors only to see fleeting shadows that vanish the instant they attempt to focus on them, leaving a lingering sense of unease. One of the most frequently reported experiences at the Driscoll bar involves shadowy figures that appear along the periphery of the room. Guests have described seeing silhouettes of men and women dressed in clothing from the early 20th century, sometimes appearing to converse quietly or move about as though performing a daily routine long forgotten. These figures often appear near the bar itself or along the hallways adjoining the main lounge, vanishing whenever someone tries to approach them. Witnesses report that these sightings are usually subtle, a flicker in the corner of the eye, yet they leave a lasting impression, as though the room itself is replaying fragments of its past. Cold spots are another hallmark of the bar's haunting. Even on warm Texas nights, staff and guests report sudden drops in temperature near specific corners or tables. These cold zones often coincide with reported apparitions or the sensation of being touched by an unseen presence. Bartenders have described placing drinks on the bar only to feel a chill along their arms, as if someone invisible is leaning against them. Patrons sitting in these areas sometimes feel a sudden breeze or the touch of an icy hand, often causing them to glance nervously around the room. These fleeting but intense sensations reinforce the idea that the Driscoll is more than a historic bar. It is a space where past and present collide. The history of the Driscoll Hotel contributes heavily to its paranormal reputation. Over the decades, the hotel has witnessed countless events, political meetings, social gatherings, and, inevitably, tragic accidents. Certain areas of the bar are said to be hotspots for these occurrences, particularly corners where falls or incidents once took place. Guests who have spent time in these areas often report the feeling of someone sitting nearby or brushing past them, even when the space is empty. The combination of historical events and lingering energy seems to anchor the spirits to these locations, creating a subtle but undeniable presence. Staff members frequently recount experiences that defy explanation. Glasses occasionally shift slightly on the bar, chairs rock without being touched, and footsteps are heard along empty hallways. Some describe hearing faint whispers or murmurs that do not correspond with any living voice, as though remnants of conversations from decades past are replaying for those sensitive enough to notice. Visitors have also reported hearing laughter that is out of place, distant music, or the faint clatter of a dropped object when no one is nearby. These experiences, while often brief, create a strong impression that the bar is a living entity, filled with echoes of those who have passed through. Visual phenomena are among the most compelling and unsettling aspects of the Driscoll bar's hauntings. Patrons sometimes catch glimpses of figures in the mirrors or along the edges of windows, often a flash of movement, a shadow passing behind a column, or a partial figure that disappears when looked at directly. Staff report similar sightings, particularly late at night when the bar is quiet. The apparitions are rarely threatening. Instead, they seem like silent observers, lingering in the corners, watching, and occasionally interacting in subtle ways, like moving an object or creating a cold draft. Even in the midst of bustling evenings, when the bar is filled with conversation, laughter, and the clinking of glasses, the presence of the unseen is palpable. Guests may feel sudden chills while seated at their table, notice shadows flitting along the floor, or hear faint whispers that vanish upon investigation. The energy is never aggressive, but it is persistent, a reminder that the Driscoll bar is not just a space of elegance and hospitality, but also a vessel for memory, tragedy, and unresolved history. Despite the eerie stories, the Driscoll bar remains a celebrated destination in Austin. Patrons come for cocktails, fine dining, and the chance to soak in the historic ambience. Yet many leave with tales of unexplained occurrences, fleeting figures, and the sensation of having shared space with the city's past. Paranormal enthusiasts often visit attempting to capture audio or visual evidence of the bar's spectral residence. But even without proof, the consistent reports over decades lend the location an undeniable mystique. Ultimately, the Driscoll Bar is a unique blend of history, elegance, and supernatural intrigue. Guests may enter expecting a sophisticated cocktail experience, yet they leave with stories of shadowy figures, cold spots, and the sensation of lingering presences in corners and hallways. The bar, with its grand architecture and storied past, stands as a reminder that the events of the past continue to echo into the present, that tragedies and lives once lived leave an enduring mark, and that in certain spaces, the line between the living and the dead is thinner than anyone might imagine. The old Absinthe House in New Orleans, Louisiana, is more than just a barrette, is a historic landmark that has witnessed centuries of revelry, scandal, and tragedy. Nestled in the heart of the French Quarter, this iconic establishment has served countless patrons over the years, from locals to tourists, writers to revolutionaries. Its storied past is steeped in the city's vibrant culture and notorious nightlife. Yet beneath the clinking of glasses and the scent of absinthe lies a darker, more mysterious presence. For decades, visitors and staff have reported experiences that suggest the spirits of long-dead bartenders and patrons continue to linger, adding an eerie undercurrent to the bar's lively atmosphere. From the moment you step inside, the old Absinthe House exudes an aura that is both inviting and unsettling. Its dark wood paneling, vintage fixtures, and classic bar layout evoke a bygone era. Yet there is an unmistakable feeling that something unseen watches from the shadows. Staff members often recount moments where they feel a presence standing just behind them, only to turn and find the space empty. Patrons have glimpsed figures moving at the periphery of their vision or caught fleeting reflections in the mirrors that vanish when looked at directly. It is as though the bar itself is alive with memories and echoes of those who once frequented its tables and counters. The spirits reported at the old Absinthe House are often tied to its long history of service. Bartenders from decades past are said to remain behind the bar, their presence felt in subtle but unmistakable ways. Some guests describe seeing a shadowy figure wiping down the counter, arranging bottles, or moving in time with the bar's natural rhythm. Staff have reported hearing the soft scrape of a glass along the bar, or the faint clink of bottles being set down when no one is present. These occurrences are often more pronounced during the quiet hours of the night, when the hum of patrons has faded and the bar's historic energy seems to dominate the space. Paranormal investigators have frequently been drawn to the old Absinthe House, seeking to capture evidence of its haunted reputation. Many claim to have captured shadow figures on camera, fleeting shapes that appear along the walls or behind the bar. Audio recordings often pick up unexplained sounds, faint whispers, the echo of footsteps, or the soft laughter of voices that do not belong to anyone present. These investigations often coincide with moments when the bar is nearly empty, suggesting that the spirits are most active during periods of stillness, observing and interacting in subtle ways that defy explanation. The upstairs areas, once used for private gatherings or small events, are particularly active according to witness accounts. Guests report cold spots that seem to move through the room, sudden chills in the middle of summer, and the sensation of someone standing nearby. Some describe the soft brush of an invisible hand, a fleeting touch that leaves a shiver behind. Others report hearing conversations in languages or accents that would have been common in New Orleans centuries ago, as though the bar's walls themselves remember the voices that once filled the space. Visual phenomena are among the most compelling aspects of the hauntings at the old Absinthe House. Patrons sometimes glimpse partial figures in mirrors or long hallways, moments of movement that disappear when attention is fully directed. Shadowy forms are often seen near the corners of the bar, by staircases, or behind tables where no one is seated. These apparitions are rarely threatening. Instead, they appear as observers, quietly sharing the space with the living. Guests often leave with a lingering sense that they were in the presence of the city's past, A reminder that the bar is more than a social venue, is a living archive of history and memory. Objects moving on their own are another common occurrence. Glasses may shift slightly on the bar, napkins flutter as if disturbed by a breeze, and doors have been known to open or close without explanation. Staff often report that these movements coincide with moments of heightened energy, such as when the bar empties late at night, or when a group recounts a particularly dramatic story from the past. Patrons sometimes witness these events firsthand, adding to the bar's reputation as a place where the ordinary and the supernatural intersect seamlessly. Many locals regard the hauntings of the old Absinthe House as part of its charm. The bar's ghostly residents are seen not as malevolent forces, but as silent witnesses to the passage of time, remnants of a city and a culture that has always celebrated life, revelry, and sometimes excess. Guests often leave with stories of cold drafts, whispered voices, and fleeting shadows, each encounter a brush with history made tangible. A reminder that New Orleans is a city where the past never truly fades. Even during busy evenings, filled with music, laughter, and the smell of absinthe, the spirits make their presence known in subtle ways. Shadows flit along the edges of vision, cold spots appear unexpectedly, and the faint sound of footsteps or whispered conversation adds a layer of depth to the bar's atmosphere. Visitors find themselves sharing the space with the unseen, participating in a unique blend of history, culture, and the supernatural. The old Absinthe House is not merely a barrette, it's a place where centuries of history, celebration, and tragedy converge. Patrons enter for drinks, atmosphere, and tradition, but many leave with the undeniable sense that they have been in the company of something otherworldly. The spirits of past bartenders and patrons continue to observe, interact, and linger, quietly threading the past into the present. For those willing to notice, the bar offers glimpses of a world just out of reach, a reminder that in New Orleans, the line between the living and the dead is always thin, and the echoes of history are never far from the present. The Knickerbocker Hotel Bar in Hollywood, California, is a storied establishment that evokes the glamour and glitz of old Hollywood. Once a hotspot for movie stars, writers, and socialites, the bar has hosted countless famous faces over the decades, from silver screen icons to rising stars. Its polished wood, Art Deco accents, and dimly lit corners create an atmosphere of elegance and nostalgia. But beneath the refined surface, the Knickerbocker holds a reputation for ghostly activity that has intrigued both patrons and paranormal enthusiasts. Staff and visitors alike report sightings of mysterious figures, unexplained sounds, and moments when the boundary between the present and the past seems to blur. Stepping into the Knickerbocker Bar is like stepping into a time capsule. From velvet-lined booths to crystal chandeliers, reflects Hollywood's golden era, and the energy of the space is rich with history. Yet amidst the laughter, clinking glasses, and soft jazz music, there is an undercurrent of something unseen. Staff often describe the sensation of being watched, especially when attending to tables in quieter areas of the bar. Guests occasionally catch fleeting glimpses of shadows moving at the edges of their vision or reflections in mirrors that disappear the instant they focus on them. Many who experience these phenomena describe a subtle tension, a sense that the past is never truly gone, lingering quietly among the modern patrons. The most frequently reported apparition is that of a woman in white, a spectral figure who seems to wander among the tables. Patrons have seen her drifting gracefully along the hallways or appearing at the edges of the room, her form translucent yet unmistakably human. She moves silently, often pausing near empty chairs or tables, as if recalling conversations long past. Guests who encounter her report a mixture of awe and unease, noting that she radiates a quiet melancholy rather than menace. Staff members have recounted moments when they noticed the figure gliding through the bar, only to vanish when approached, leaving behind a lingering chill in the air. Another iconic presence is that of a man whose laughter can be heard echoing through the night. Unlike the woman in white, this spirit is more audibly present than visually. Patrons have reported hearing soft, mirthful laughter, coming from corners of the bar or from empty hallways, often accompanied by the sound of chairs moving or faint footsteps. The laughter is distinct, carrying a sense of personality and history, as if the man were still sharing a private joke or observing the social scene from beyond the veil. Guests often pause in curiosity or nervous anticipation, listening as the echoes fade into silence, leaving a lingering sense that someone unseen has joined in the revelry. Objects moving without explanation are also a recurring theme at the Knickerbocker Bar. Glasses have been seen shifting slightly on the bar, chairs rocking as if recently vacated, and personal items occasionally displaced without human intervention. These minor disturbances are typically subtle, but their consistency has convinced many that the bar is inhabited by spirits who continue to interact with the living. Staff members have grown accustomed to these occurrences, understanding them as part of the establishment's unique character rather than a threat. Patrons, meanwhile, often find the incidents thrilling, adding an extra layer of intrigue to their evening. Temperature fluctuations contribute to the bar's eerie reputation. Even on warm nights in Hollywood, guests sometimes feel sudden chills near certain corners, stairways, or tables. Staff report that these cold spots often appear alongside sightings of the woman in white or during moments when the laughter of the unseen man echoes through the room. The temperature shifts are fleeting but noticeable, leaving both patrons and employees with the distinct impression that the bar is alive with energies beyond their understanding. Audio phenomena extend beyond laughter and footsteps. Guests have occasionally heard whispers, soft voices speaking in hushed tones, or fragments of conversations that seem to carry meaning from another era. Some claim to have heard the clinking of glasses or the shuffle of papers when no one is nearby, as if the bar itself is replaying moments from Hollywood's golden past. These auditory experiences, combined with visual sightings, create a layered, immersive sensation that the history of the Knickerbocker continues to inhabit the present moment. The history of the Knickerbocker Hotel Bar plays a significant role in its hauntings. Once frequented by the elite of Hollywood, the space has been witness to glamorous parties, secret affairs, and dramatic encounters. Many believe that the spirits lingering within the bar are tied to these intense emotional imprints. Echoes of people who once celebrated, loved, and laughed within these same walls. The woman in white may be a silent observer of past romances, while the laughing man could represent the playful energy of late-night gatherings that left lasting impressions on the building itself. Even during the busiest nights, when the bar is filled with music, conversation, and the aroma of fine cocktails, the spirits remain subtly present. Patrons sometimes notice a shadow at the edge of a booth or a sudden chill near a hallway, reminders that the past is never fully gone. Staff members understand that the ghosts are more observers than intruders, quietly threading history into the fabric of the present. The Knickerbocker offers more than drinks, an ambience. It offers a glimpse into Hollywood's spectral past, a chance to experience the energy of those who once walked the same floors. Ultimately, the Knickerbocker Hotel Bar is a unique blend of elegance, history, and the supernatural. Guests enter expecting cocktails and nostalgia, yet many leave with stories of ghostly figures, unexplained laughter, and fleeting shadows. The woman in white, the laughing man, and the subtle disturbances that occur throughout the bar are reminders that the past continues to breathe within these walls. Patrons depart not only with memories of fine drinks and old Hollywood charm, but with the lingering awareness that the spirits of a bygone era are quietly watching, sharing, and occasionally joining in the revelry. The Green Dragon Tavern in Boston, Massachusetts, is not just a historic pub, it is a cornerstone of revolutionary history. A place where the sparks of American independence are said to have been kindled. Built in the early 18th century, the tavern served as a meeting place for patriots, merchants, and revolutionaries plotting against British rule. Its walls have witnessed secret gatherings, whispered plans, and clandestine conversations that would shape the future of a nation. Today, visitors are drawn not only to its rich history and rustic charm, but also to the lingering sense that the spirits of these patriots still inhabit the space, replaying moments of planning, intrigue, and urgency long after their deaths. Walking into the Green Dragon Tavern, one is immediately struck by the atmosphere. Exposed beams, wooden floors worn smooth by centuries of footsteps, and antique furnishings create a feeling of stepping back in time. Amid the laughter and chatter of modern patrons, there is an unmistakable sense of presence await in the air. A feeling that the walls themselves remember more than just casual conversation. Guests often remark on sudden chills in specific areas of the tavern, or the sensation of being quietly observed while moving through rooms or standing at the bar. Staff describes similar experiences, noting that the energy of the place seems to intensify when the pub is quieter, particularly late at night or during the early hours before dawn. Footsteps are among the most commonly reported paranormal phenomena. Patrons have heard the unmistakable sound of boots clacking on the wooden floors, moving across empty rooms or along hallways, only to find the space vacant when they investigate. Staff often hear these sounds during cleaning or setup, noticing the rhythmic pace of someone pacing the floorboards sometimes, stopping just as suddenly as it began. The footsteps carry a weight and precision that suggests the ghosts of patriots walking deliberately, retracing their historic steps as if still planning revolution or strategizing over secret messages. Whispers are another signature of the tavern's hauntings. Visitors often report hearing faint conversations that seem to float through the air, sometimes in fragmented sentences, other times as indistinct murmurs. These whispers are most commonly experienced near the old back rooms, long unused but still rich with historical resonance. Some guests describe hearing discussions about supplies, military strategy, or coded messages, echoes of the clandestine meetings that once took place within these very walls. The whispers are subtle, yet compelling, creating a sense of intimacy with the past and a feeling that the voices of revolutionaries continue to linger, watching over the tavern and those who enter. Visual phenomena are less common but equally intriguing. Patrons have reported glimpsing shadowy figures moving in the corners of rooms or along hallways, fleeting glimpses of men in tricorn hats or colonial attire. Staff occasionally see these figures briefly near storage areas or behind the bar, disappearing when approached directly. Some believe these apparitions are the patriots themselves, replaying moments of planning or quietly observing the living as they dine and drink in the same historic space. The figures are rarely threatening. Rather, they seem focused on tasks or discussions, a silent presence tethered to the tavern by unfinished business or historical significance. Temperature anomalies add another layer to the tavern's spectral reputation. Guests often notice sudden chills, localized cold spots that appear without explanation, even during warm Boston days. Staff have reported the sensation of icy drafts near certain tables, corners, or passageways, accompanied by the faint feeling of a presence brushing past. These occurrences are often reported in conjunction with other paranormal events, footsteps, whispers, or fleeting shadows, suggesting that the tavern's spirits manifest most strongly when their energy aligns with the living world. The Green Dragon Tavern's history is key to understanding its haunting. During the American Revolution, it served as a hub for the Sons of Liberty and other patriots who met in secret to plot resistance against British rule. The tavern was sometimes referred to as the headquarters of the revolution, hosting meetings that required discretion, secrecy, and careful planning. Many believe that the intense emotions, risks, and sense of urgency from these meetings left an energetic imprint that continues to resonate within the building. The spirits of those patriots may remain tethered to the space, drawn to the echoes of the past and the living reenactment of their historic gatherings. Objects moving without explanation have also been reported. Chairs may shift slightly, doors creak open, and items occasionally fall or move with no discernible cause. Staff often describe these events as subtle nudges rather than violent disturbances, small reminders that the tavern is not entirely under the control of the living. Patrons sometimes witness glasses rattling on the bar or napkins fluttering, phenomena that add to the tavern's aura of mystery and historical depth. Despite these eerie accounts, the Green Dragon Tavern continues to thrive as a popular destination for both locals and tourists. Visitors are drawn by its reputation as the birthplace of American independence, but many leave with stories of ghostly footsteps, whispered conversations, and shadowy figures. Paranormal enthusiasts often explore the tavern at night, hoping to capture evidence of the spirits that linger. While concrete proof is elusive, the consistency and richness of the reports over decades lend credence to the idea that the Green Dragon is a place where history and the supernatural intersect. Ultimately, the Green Dragon Tavern is more than a bar. It is a living monument to America's revolutionary past. Guests enter expecting food, drink, and a glimpse into history. Yet many leave with the uncanny sense that they have shared space with the patriots who once shaped a nation. Footsteps echoing across empty rooms, whispers of secret conversations, and fleeting apparitions all serve as reminders that the events of the past continue to inhabit the present. In this historic Boston tavern, the boundary between the living and the dead is thin, and the echoes of rebellion remain palpable, allowing visitors to experience the legacy of the American Revolution in a way that is both tangible and haunting. The Black Bear Bar in Anchorage, Alaska, is a place that draws people for more than just its drinks and rustic Alaskan charm. Nestled in a city surrounded by towering mountains and vast wilderness, the bar has built a reputation not only for its cold ambience, but also for the chilling stories that have circulated among locals and travelers alike. Patrons often speak of glimpsing shadowy figures vanishing into corners or stairways, and some have reported catching the lingering scents of old tobacco and whiskey where no one is present. These subtle but unsettling phenomena suggest that the Black Bear is not merely a bar, it is a space where the living share a world with echoes of the past. From the moment visitors step inside, the atmosphere feels distinct. The bar is adorned with dark wood, mounted wildlife, and the muted glow of low-hanging lights. While it welcomes patrons with warmth and familiarity, there is a palpable sense of history lingering in the air. Staff frequently mention that certain corners and seating areas feel different, heavier, almost alive with unseen presence. Guests often remark on the sensation of being watched, or notice fleeting movements at the edge of their vision, as though someone or something is observing them from the shadows. Shadowy figures are among the most commonly reported phenomena at the Black Bear Bar. Patrons have seen dark silhouettes slip along the walls or disappear into dimly lit corners. These sightings are brief, often leaving a chill in their wake, yet the impression they leave is lasting. Staff report similar experiences, describing figures moving behind the bar or along hallways that connect the main room to storage or private areas. These apparitions are elusive, vanishing the moment anyone tries to approach them. But they are often accompanied by a distinct presence, as though the spirits linger just beyond the reach of human perception. The scent of old tobacco and whiskey is another eerie hallmark of the Black Bear Bar's hauntings. Guests sometimes notice a faint, lingering aroma in areas where no one has been smoking, particularly in quieter corners or late at night. Staff members have recounted moments when they detect the smell seemingly emanating from empty chairs or unoccupied booths, a ghostly reminder of patrons long gone. These olfactory experiences, combined with visual sightings, create a multi-sensory impression of history and presence, reinforcing the idea that the bar is a place where memories refuse to fade. Unexplained sounds add another layer to the bar's spectral reputation. Visitors have heard soft footsteps on the worn wooden floors, whispers that seem to float from unseen speakers, and the faint clink of glasses or bottles when no one is nearby. Staff often report hearing the shuffle of papers or the subtle rustle of chairs moving, accompanied by a cold draft or sudden chill. These sounds are usually subtle, but their persistence has convinced many that the Black Bear Bar is inhabited by spirits who interact with the environment in small yet unmistakable ways. Temperature anomalies are common and striking. Patrons frequently experience sudden cold spots near corners or hallways, often coinciding with sightings of shadowy figures or unexplained noises. Staff have noted that these chills sometimes appear midsummer, lingering in areas that feel otherwise warm and inviting. These temperature fluctuations contribute to the bar's unsettling ambience, reminding visitors that the space they occupy is not entirely governed by the ordinary laws of the physical world. The history of the Black Bear Bar adds depth to its reputation for hauntings. Anchorage, with its long history as a frontier town, has seen countless stories of miners, trappers, and early settlers, some of whom frequented the bar or its predecessors. Over the decades, the bar has been witness to moments of celebration, heartbreak, and even tragedy. Many locals believe that the spirits who linger are tied to these histories, tethered to the building by unresolved emotion or deep attachment to a place they once called their own. Whether it is a miner who spent his evenings recounting tales of the Alaskan wilderness, or a long-gone patron enjoying a quiet drink, the Black Bear seems to carry their memories in the shadows. Visual phenomena often coincide with the bar's more tangible disturbances. Guests have glimpsed figures moving across the room, their forms partially translucent, often near seating areas, or long hallways leading to private rooms. Staff have recounted experiences of noticing movement from the corner of their eye, only to find the space empty when turned toward. These apparitions are rarely threatening, but they create a sense of being observed, as though the spirits are quietly interacting with those who enter, ensuring their presence is felt without direct interference. Despite the eerie experiences reported, the Black Bear Bar continues to thrive as a popular Anchorage destination. Visitors come for the rustic charm, the hearty drinks, and the rugged Alaskan atmosphere, but many leave with stories of ghostly figures, mysterious scents, and unexplained sounds. Paranormal enthusiasts are drawn to the bar for late-night investigations, hoping to capture audio, visual, or olfactory evidence of its spectral residence. Even without proof, the consistency of reports over the years has cemented the Black Bear's reputation as a haunted hotspot, a place where history, memory, and the supernatural converge. Ultimately, the Black Bear Bar is more than a drinking establishment. It is a space where the living brush against the echoes of the past. Patrons enter expecting a cold beer or a hearty meal, but they often leave with the sense of having shared space with spirits who once walked the same floors, smoked the same cigarettes, and enjoyed the same drinks. Shadowy figures, disappearing apparitions, faint whispers, and lingering scents create an atmosphere that is as chilling as it is captivating. In Anchorage, where the wilderness and urban life intersect, the Black Bear Bar stands as a reminder that some presences refuse to leave, quietly watching from the shadows, keeping the memory of the past alive for anyone willing to notice. The Stag's Head in Chicago, Illinois, is a bar steeped in history, shadowed by the stories of its past. Over decades, it has been a gathering place for locals, travelers, and those seeking a quiet drink. But beneath its lively atmosphere lies a history of violence, heartbreak, and despair that has left an indelible mark. Patrons and staff alike report experiences that suggest the spirits of past patrons have never truly left. Chairs shifting on their own, glasses tipping over without explanation, and disembodied voices echoing through the bar after closing hours are all part of the chilling lore that surrounds the Stag's Head. It is a place where the lively energy of the present coexists with the weight of the past, creating an atmosphere that is as unnerving as it is fascinating. Walking into the Stag's Head, one immediately notices its traditional pub ambience. Dark wood paneling, low ceilings, and walls adorned with hunting trophies and vintage photographs. It invites comfort and conversation. But there is a subtle undercurrent that something is different here. Staff often mention the sensation of being watched, particularly when working late at night or cleaning after hours. Patrons have reported glimpsing movement at the edge of their vision, fleeting shadows that vanish when attention is focused directly upon them. Many describe a tangible sense that the building itself retains memories of past events, memories that occasionally manifest in the form of unexplained phenomena. Among the most common reports are chairs moving, seemingly, on their own. Guests have described the experience of sitting down only to find a chair has shifted slightly, or watching as a chair rocks back and forth with no one nearby. Staff members recount instances of chairs tipping over in empty corners, sometimes accompanied by the sound of a faint thud or scraping against the floor. These incidents are often subtle, yet consistent, reinforcing the idea that the bar is inhabited by forces unseen, still replaying fragments of life long gone. Glasses tipping or sliding is another recurring phenomenon. Patrons have recounted moments when drinks suddenly move across tables, as if nudged by an invisible hand. Bartenders have reported setting down a glass or bottle only to watch it tip or roll without contact. These events usually occur in quieter areas of the bar or during late hours when the space is largely empty. Guests often feel a combination of surprise and unease, realizing that the energy in the room does not entirely belong to the living. Disembodied voices are a hallmark of the Stag's Head haunting. Patrons have reported hearing whispers, murmurs, or even angry tones emanating from areas that appear empty. Staff frequently note hearing fragments of conversations, arguments, or cries for help in the middle of the night, particularly in corners or hallways that are seldom used. These voices are often fleeting, fading as suddenly as they appear, but the impact is undeniable. Those who hear them feel the unmistakable presence of lives that have lingered beyond their time. Temperature anomalies are another indication of the bar's supernatural activity. Guests and staff alike have reported sudden drops in temperature in certain parts of the building. Even during warm Chicago summers, cold drafts often appear in specific corners, by stairways, or near tables where tragic events may have once occurred. Patrons sometimes feel a shiver pass over them, sensing a presence just out of reach. These cold spots are frequently associated with other paranormal experiences, such as moving furniture or disembodied voices, enhancing the impression that the Stag's Head is a space where the past is actively interacting with the present. The bar's history contributes heavily to its haunted reputation. Over the decades, the Stag's Head has been witness to brawls, accidents, and personal tragedies. Tales of fights breaking out over debts, arguments turning violent, or patrons succumbing to despair are whispered among locals and have become part of the lore. Many believe that these intense moments left energetic imprints within the walls, floors, and ceilings, creating a residual presence that can still be felt today. Shadowy figures are often seen moving along areas where incidents of violence or grief occurred, giving the impression that the spirits are replaying fragments of their past lives. Visual phenomena further reinforce the Stag's Head's reputation. Patrons have glimpsed shadowy forms moving along the walls or darting through hallways, often disappearing when approached. Some have reported seeing faint outlines of figures sitting at tables long after the bar has closed, or watching a chair shift as if someone unseen had just left it. These sightings are usually subtle, fleeting glimpses that create an eerie feeling rather than outright terror. Yet they leave a lasting impression that the bar is inhabited by more than just a living. Many guests find the experiences simultaneously thrilling and unsettling. The Stag's Head offers a unique blend of historical charm and supernatural intrigue, a place where a simple night out may become an encounter with the echoes of lives that shaped the bar's past. Paranormal enthusiasts often visit late at night, hoping to catch a shadow, hear a whisper, or feel the cold presence that has been reported so frequently over the years. While concrete proof remains elusive, the consistent accounts from staff and patrons over decades suggest that the hauntings are very real. Ultimately, the Stag's Head is more than a barrette, is a repository of Chicago's human experiences. A space where the echoes of violence, grief, and celebration linger long after those involved have passed away. Patrons enter expecting drinks and camaraderie, yet many leave with a sense of having shared space with something unseen, a lingering impression of shadowy figures, cold drafts, and disembodied voices. In this historic Chicago establishment, the past is never truly gone. It lives in the corners, the walls, and the floors, quietly observing, occasionally interacting, and leaving an unforgettable mark on all who step inside. The Eagle Hotel Bar in Concord, New Hampshire, is a historic establishment that has been serving patrons since the 1800s. Nestled in the heart of the city, the bar has seen generations of travelers, locals, and notable figures pass through its doors. Over time, its charming wooden interiors antique furnishings, and classic bar setup have made it a beloved destination. Yet the Eagle Hotel Bar is far more than a place for drinks and conversation. Its walls and corners are steeped in history, and with that history come stories of lingering spirits, including that of a former bartender who met a tragic end. Guests and staff alike have reported strange sensations, from being touched by unseen hands to the feeling of silent presences lingering just beyond sight, making the bar a focal point for tales of the supernatural. Walking into the Eagle Hotel Bar, visitors are immediately struck by its old-world charm. The warm glow of pendant lights reflects off polished wood surfaces, and the bar exudes a welcoming atmosphere. Yet beneath this inviting exterior, there is an unmistakable sense that the building remembers more than just the patrons who have come and gone. Staff often describe moments when they feel someone standing nearby or brushing past them, only to find that no one is there. Patrons report the same sensation, particularly when sitting in certain corners or near the bar itself, leaving a subtle but lingering impression that the room is shared with invisible guests. The spirit most frequently associated with the Eagle Hotel Bar is that of a former bartender. According to local lore, he met a tragic end, though the exact circumstances vary in different accounts. Some suggest a sudden illness. Others hint at a fatal accident behind the bar. Regardless of the story, many believe that his presence remains, quietly observing and occasionally interacting with the living. Guests have reported feeling an unseen hand brush against their shoulder while seated at the bar, or a gentle pressure along their back, as if someone were guiding them. Staff have noticed glasses shifting slightly, or items being nudged without explanation, often in areas that align with where the bartender once worked. These subtle interactions create a strong sense that the spirit continues to inhabit the space he once tended. Visual sightings are less common but equally compelling. Patrons have occasionally glimpsed fleeting figures moving behind the bar or along the edges of the room, disappearing when attention is focused on them. Shadows seem to dart just out of reach, and sometimes the outline of a man, dressed in attire reminiscent of the late 19th or early 20th century, appears near the service area before vanishing. These encounters are brief and often leave a lingering unease, but they also reinforce the connection between the present-day bar and its storied past. Auditory phenomena are another hallmark of the Eagle Hotel Bar. Guests have reported hearing the clink of glasses, the scrape of a chair being moved, or the soft shuffle of footsteps when the bar is quiet and empty. Staff frequently hear murmured voices or faint whispers in areas that should be silent, particularly late at night after the last patrons have left. Some describe these sounds as conversational, almost as if the spirits are replaying fragments of their daily routines from decades ago. Others hear sharper, more abrupt noises, like the sudden thud of an object falling, which can startle those present but leave no trace behind. Temperature anomalies contribute to the eerie atmosphere. Even on warm days, certain areas of the bar may feel inexplicably cold. Patrons often notice a chill near the corners, along the bar, or by stairways, sometimes coinciding with other paranormal phenomena, such as a shifted object or a whispered voice. Staff members have reported standing behind the bar during cleaning or closing and suddenly feeling a presence press close, accompanied by a noticeable drop in temperature. These experiences, while fleeting, leave a powerful impression and strengthen the bar's reputation as a place where the line between the living and the spiritual world is thin. The Eagle Hotel Bar's long history is central to understanding its hauntings. Operating for more than a century, it has been a hub of social life in Concord, hosting countless events, celebrations, and gatherings. The intense emotions and daily interactions over decades appear to have left an energetic imprint on the building itself, anchoring spirits to the place. Many believe that the former bartender's spirit remains out of attachment to the work he loved, the patrons he served, and the familiar rhythms of the bar he once called home. Guests often find the bar's haunted reputation both unsettling and fascinating. Some visit specifically to see if they can encounter the unseen, while others are surprised by subtle touches, movements, or sounds that suggest the presence of a silent observer. Paranormal enthusiasts occasionally conduct investigations, capturing unexplained audio or documenting fleeting visual phenomena. But even without evidence, the consistency of eyewitness accounts over the years makes the hauntings of the Eagle Hotel Bar difficult to dismiss. Ultimately, the Eagle Hotel Bar is a place where history, memory, and the supernatural intertwine. Patrons enter expecting a warm drink and a glimpse into Concord's past. Yet many leave with the distinct sense that they have shared the space with spirits who refuse to fade. The presence of the former bartender, the occasional shifting of objects, the cold spots, and the whispers all contribute to a living atmosphere that honors the past while engaging the present. In this historic New Hampshire bar, the echoes of lives once lived remain tangible, quietly observing and occasionally interacting with those who step inside, making every visit a unique and haunting experience. The Silver Dollar Bar in Las Vegas, Nevada, is a place where the city's vibrant energy and the darker echoes of history intersect. Known for its bright lights, constant activity, and reputation as a hotspot for gamblers and showgoers, the bar has also earned a more eerie distinction, a place where the restless spirits of those who met untimely or tragic ends linger, particularly those whose lives were consumed by the pursuit of luck. Patrons and staff alike have reported strange and inexplicable occurrences, from poker chips moving on their own to the sensation of being watched from shadowy corners. These phenomena give the Silver Dollar Bar a reputation as a venue where chance is not the only gambles. Sometimes, the spirits of the past make their presence known. Walking into the Silver Dollar Bar, visitors are immediately immersed in the bright, electric atmosphere of Las Vegas. Neon lights reflect off mirrored walls. The hum of conversation and clinking glasses fills the room, and the sounds of slot machines and poker games create a lively soundtrack. Yet, even amid this vibrant energy, there is an unmistakable feeling that the space is shared with unseen observers. Staff often report the sensation of a presence lingering nearby, especially around the poker tables and private booths where high-stakes games once drew intense emotion. Patrons occasionally notice chips shifting slightly, cards seeming to slide on their own, or fleeting shadows at the periphery of their vision. The most commonly reported hauntings revolve around the bar's poker tables. Guests have witnessed chips moving across tables, seemingly nudged by invisible hands, or cards fluttering as though caught in a sudden, ghostly breeze. Some players have claimed that their winning hands were inexplicably overturned, only to find that chips had moved in a way that disrupted the outcome. Staff describe these occurrences as subtle but persistent, often happening during quiet hours or when the tables are empty. Many believe these events are tied to the restless spirits of gamblers who became consumed by luck, leaving behind an imprint on the very tables where they once played. Shadowy figures are frequently observed around the Silver Dollar Bar. Patrons sometimes glimpse dark forms moving behind the bar, between tables, or along the hallways that connect to private gaming rooms. These figures vanish when attention is focused directly on them, leaving behind only the lingering sense of being watched. Staff have recounted encounters with apparitions near the corners of the room, by slot machines, and around the bar itself. Some of these spirits are described as faint silhouettes, while others are more defined, appearing in vintage Las Vegas attire, evoking a bygone era of gamblers and entertainers who once populated the space. Auditory phenomena are another hallmark of the Silver Dollar Bar's supernatural activity. Guests have reported hearing the shuffle of cards, the clink of chips, and faint laughter coming from empty areas. Staff frequently describe the sound of footsteps echoing through hallways, or the soft murmur of conversations in spaces that are vacant. These auditory experiences are often fleeting, yet their consistency over time adds to the bar's reputation as a place where the past is never fully gone. Some believe these sounds are echoes of games long ended, the lingering energy of players still invested in their pursuit of fortune. Temperature fluctuations also contribute to the bar's chilling reputation. Patrons often notice sudden cold spots near gaming tables or seating areas, sometimes coinciding with visual or auditory phenomena. Staff report that these drops in temperature occur even on warm Las Vegas nights, particularly in corners or spaces that were historically associated with high-stakes gambling. The cold spots are often subtle but noticeable, leaving an impression that the environment itself is reacting to something unseen, heightening the sense that the spirits are present and aware. The history of the Silver Dollar Bar helps explain its hauntings. Las Vegas has long been a city where fortune and misfortune collide, where fortunes are won and lost in an instant, and where risk often comes with intense emotion. The bar has been a gathering place for gamblers and entertainers alike, witnessing moments of triumph, desperation, and heartbreak. Many believe that those who lost everything or met untimely ends while seeking luck left energetic imprints, anchoring their spirits to the site of their final endeavors. The poker tables, in particular, serve as focal points for this energy, drawing manifestations that mimic the intensity and focus of long-past games. Visual and sensory phenomena are often intertwined at the Silver Dollar Bar. Guests have reported seeing shadows move across tables while simultaneously feeling a chill in the air or detecting the faint scent of cigarette smoke and whiskey where none should exist. Staff recount instances when items on tables, such as chips or glasses, seem to shift slightly during quiet moments, reinforcing the idea that the space is subtly alive with the energy of its past patrons. These combined experiences leave a lasting impression on those who visit, creating a sense of connection to a world just beyond their perception. Despite its haunted reputation, the Silver Dollar Bar continues to thrive as a popular destination in Las Vegas. Patrons come for drinks, socializing, and gaming, but many leave with stories of moving chips, shadowy figures, and inexplicable sounds. Paranormal enthusiasts are often drawn to the bar for late-night investigations, hoping to capture evidence of the spirits that reportedly linger. Even without definitive proof, the consistency and richness of the reports over the years lend credibility to the notion that the bar is home to more than just the living. Ultimately, the Silver Dollar Bar is a place where history, fortune, and the supernatural converge. Patrons enter expecting excitement, drinks, and the thrill of gambling, yet many leave with the undeniable sense that they have shared space with unseen spectators. The poker tables, the bar, and the quiet corners are imbued with memories of lives devoted to luck, risk, and chance. Shadowy figures, shifting chips, unexplained sounds, and cold spots all contribute to the atmosphere, making the Silver Dollar Bar not only a hub of modern entertainment, but also a stage for the lingering echoes of Las Vegas, past a place where the spirits of gamblers continue to play. Long after the games have ended, the Red Lion Pub in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, is a colonial-era establishment that carries centuries of history within its walls. Nestled in the heart of the city, the pub has served generations of patrons, from local residents to travelers seeking a taste of colonial charm. Its aged wooden beams, low ceilings, and antique furnishings evoke a bygone era. But the Red Lion is not merely a relic of the past, it is a site where history and the supernatural intersect. Over the years, visitors and staff have reported a variety of paranormal phenomena, including spectral figures, sudden cold spots, and a persistent feeling of being watched, creating an atmosphere that is as unsettling as it is compelling. Stepping inside the Red Lion Pub, patrons are immediately struck by the sense of history permeating the space. The scent of aged wood, mixed with the aroma of ale and roasted meats, sets a nostalgic tone. Yet beneath this cozy veneer, there is an unmistakable undercurrent that something unseen resides within the building. Staff frequently describe the sensation of being followed or observed, particularly when walking through dimly lit hallways or tending to areas of the pub that have been less traveled for decades. Guests, too, report an uneasy awareness, as if invisible eyes are tracking their movements. The feeling is subtle but persistent, leaving a lingering impression that the past is still very much present. Spectral figures are among the most reported hauntings at the Red Lion. Patrons have glimpsed shadowy forms flitting across the dining area or moving along hallways, disappearing when approached. Some witnesses describe seeing faint images of colonial-era individuals, men in waistcoats, women in long dresses, standing near tables or peering from corners. Staff have noted that these figures often appear near areas associated with significant historical events or near older sections of the pub, suggesting that the ghosts are somehow tied to the building's colonial past. These apparitions are generally non-threatening, but evoke a strong sense of presence, as if the spirits are quietly observing the modern world through the veil of time. Cold spots are another hallmark of the Red Lion's paranormal activity. Even on warm days, patrons have experienced sudden chills in certain corners or near specific tables. Staff frequently report that these cold zones appear unpredictably, often coinciding with other unusual phenomena, such as flickering lights, moving objects, or fleeting shadows. These drops in temperature are typically localized, leaving the surrounding areas unaffected, which contributes to the eerie sensation that unseen entities are concentrated in particular parts of the pub. Many believe these cold spots represent the physical manifestation of spiritual energy, residual echoes of the lives that once intersected within these walls. Unexplained movements and noises further contribute to the pub's haunted reputation. Chairs occasionally shift, glasses wobble, and doors have been reported to open or close without cause. Guests have described hearing soft footsteps behind them when no one else is present, or the faint murmur of conversation emanating from empty rooms. Staff recount hearing the shuffle of papers, clinking of utensils, or the subtle creak of floorboards at times when the pub is quiet. These experiences are often fleeting but leave a strong impression, as if the bar itself is alive with memories that refuse to remain silent. The history of the Red Lion pub provides context for its paranormal activity. Established during the colonial era, the pub has witnessed centuries of Philadelphia life, including periods of unrest, political intrigue, and personal tragedy. Stories of brawls, untimely deaths, and secret meetings have persisted in local lore, and many believe that the intense emotions from these events have left energetic imprints on the building. The spirits that linger are thought to be tied to these moments, continuing to inhabit the spaces where their lives intersected with the pub's history. Visitors also report experiencing a pervasive feeling of being watched. This sensation is often described as a subtle pressure on the shoulders or a heightened awareness of one's surroundings, as though unseen eyes are following every movement. Patrons note that this feeling is strongest near historical focal points, such as the oldest tables, the bar area, or near the stairways leading to upper floors. Staff members frequently mention similar experiences, particularly during late-night shifts or quiet hours, reinforcing the idea that the pub is alive with unseen observers. Visual phenomena are complemented by auditory encounters. Patrons have reported hearing faint whispers, sometimes resembling conversations from a bygone era. Others have claimed to hear the rustling of clothing, footsteps on wooden floors, or the faint clinking of glasses when the room is empty. These auditory experiences are often accompanied by visual or tactile sensations, such as sudden chills or the brushing of an invisible presence, creating a layered and immersive sense of the paranormal. Despite its haunted reputation, the Red Lion pub remains a thriving destination for both locals and tourists. Guests are drawn not only by the historic charm and classic fare, but also by the allure of experiencing a space where history and the supernatural intersect. Paranormal enthusiasts frequently visit to investigate the reports of ghostly figures, cold spots, and strange sounds, hoping to capture evidence of the spirits said to linger within the pub. While concrete proof remains elusive, the consistency and detail of eyewitness accounts over the decades lend weight to the belief that the Red Lion's hauntings are real. Ultimately, the Red Lion pub is a place where the past is never truly gone. Patrons enter expecting good food, drink, and the ambiance of colonial Philadelphia. Yet many leave with the sense that they have shared the space with spirits who remain tethered to the bar's long history. The spectral figures, cold spots, whispered voices, and pervasive feeling of being watched all contribute to an atmosphere that is both chilling and captivating. In the heart of Philadelphia, the Red Lion pub stands as a testament to the enduring presence of history. a place where the echoes of lives long past quietly coexist with the energy of the living, leaving every visitor with a story to tell. The Rusty Anchor in Key West, Florida, is more than just a seaside bar. It is a place where history, tragedy, and the supernatural converge. Perched on the edge of the docks, this weathered establishment has long been a gathering spot for locals, travelers, and sailors who find themselves drawn to its rustic charm and salty ambience. Yet beneath the laughter, music, and clinking glasses lies a more haunting presence. For decades, patrons and staff have reported ghostly figures of sailors appearing on the docks, mysterious sounds of waves crashing indoors, and an unsettling sense that some spirits who never returned home continue to linger. The Rusty Anchor has earned a reputation as a bar where the sea's restless spirits are never far away, their echoes mingling with the living. Walking into the Rusty Anchor, visitors are immediately greeted by a combination of nautical and the unmistakable aroma of saltwater and aged wood. The bar itself is lined with old ship lanterns, ropes, and weathered photographs of fishermen and sailors who once frequented the area. There is an inviting energy to the space, a sense of camaraderie among patrons who come to enjoy the ocean views and casual atmosphere. But even amid the cheerful chatter, there is often a subtle tension, a feeling that the bar is watched by unseen eyes. Staff frequently describe the sensation of being followed or observed, particularly near the windows that overlook the docks, while patrons report seeing figures moving along the pier that vanish before anyone can investigate. Ghostly sailors are among the most commonly reported apparitions. Visitors have described seeing figures in traditional seafaring attire walking along the docks outside the bar, only to disappear when attention is focused directly on them. Some witnesses claim these spirits appear as if searching for something or someone, wandering aimlessly as though unable to find rest. Staff have also reported seeing similar figures inside the bar, reflected fleetingly in mirrors or caught in the corner of their vision, vanishing before they can be fully observed. These apparitions often leave a chill in their wake, a reminder that the sea has claimed many lives, and not all of them have returned. One of the most unsettling phenomena at the Rusty Anchor is the sound of waves crashing indoors. Patrons have reported hearing the roar of the ocean even when the waters outside are calm, as if the bar itself echoes the fury of the sea. Staff frequently recount moments when these sounds seem to emanate from the very walls, accompanied by the faint smell of salt and seaweed. On occasion, glasses and utensils have been seen vibrating slightly or shifting as if the energy of the water is manifesting within the building. These occurrences are often sudden and unpredictable, intensifying the feeling that the bar is more than just a gathering place. It is a conduit between the living and the spirits who remain tethered to the sea. Cold spots are another hallmark of the Rusty Anchor's hauntings. Patrons sitting near windows or in corners closest to the docks sometimes feel sudden chills, even on warm Florida evenings. Staff have reported walking through areas of the bar and experiencing localized drops in temperature, particularly near spots historically associated with dock accidents or shipwrecks. These cold spots often coincide with other phenomena, such as sounds of footsteps, shadowy movements, or the faint impression of someone brushing past. Visitors frequently describe these moments as both eerie and captivating, heightening their sense of connection to the bar's spectral history. The history of the Rusty Anchor adds context to its haunt. For generations, it has been a hub for fishermen, sailors, and maritime workers, many of whom face the dangers of the sea daily. Shipwrecks, drownings, and disappearances were not uncommon, and local lore holds that some of those lost at sea have never found peace. The bar's proximity to the docks and its long-standing role as a community gathering place make it a natural anchor for restless spirits. Some locals even believe that certain sailors who never returned home come back to the Rusty Anchor to observe the living, ensuring that their memories remain alive in the town they once called home. Visual and auditory phenomena often occur together at the Rusty Anchor. Patrons have reported seeing shadowy figures moving along the docks, while simultaneously hearing the sounds of creaking ship timbers, lapping water, and distant shouts. Staff describe instances when empty chairs or stools shift slightly as if someone has just left them, accompanied by the faint scent of seawater and the feel of a sudden breeze. These sensory experiences create a layered haunting, leaving visitors with the impression that the bar itself is alive, with memory and energy. Many guests are drawn to the Rusty Anchor for its haunted reputation, as much as its drinks and views. Paranormal enthusiasts often visit during late-night hours to capture audio or visual evidence, while casual patrons sometimes stumble upon experiences they can't explain. Despite the eerie occurrences, the bar remains a vibrant, thriving location where the living and the spiritual coexist, creating an atmosphere that is simultaneously unsettling and unforgettable. Ultimately, the Rusty Anchor is a bar where the sea's history is never forgotten. Patrons enter expecting a relaxed evening by the water, but many leave with the knowledge that they have shared space with spirits who remain bound to the docks and the bar they once frequented. Ghostly sailors, the sound of waves inside the building, cold spots, and fleeting shadows all combine to create an experience that is both haunting and compelling. In Key West, where the ocean's power and mystery are ever present, the Rusty Anchor stands as a reminder that some spirits never truly return home. They linger, quietly observing, their presence woven into the fabric of the bar for all who dare to notice. The Dead Man's Bar in Savannah, Georgia, lives up to its ominous name. Tucked within the city's historic district, this bar has borne witness to centuries of Southern history. From duels and brawls to unexplained accidents that have left a shadow over the establishment, its dark wood interiors, low-lit ambience, and antique evoke the elegance of the past. Yet the atmosphere is heavy with echoes of tragedy. Patrons and staff alike have reported a variety of paranormal phenomena, including ghost sightings, objects moving without explanation, and sudden cold gusts, all of which contribute to the bar's reputation as one of Savannah's most haunted locations. Entering the Dead Man's Bar, guests immediately feel the weight of history. The bar is filled with vintage furnishings, framed photographs of long-dead patrons, and walls lined with the rich patina of age. The soft murmur of conversation and the clinking of glasses mix with the hum of air conditioning. But some visitors sense an undercurrent of something more. Staff often describe the sensation of being watched, particularly in the corners and along stairways leading to private rooms. Patrons sometimes feel a sudden brush against their shoulders or the inexplicable pressure of unseen eyes on them, leaving a lingering unease that this is no ordinary bar. Ghost sightings are among the most frequently reported experiences at the Dead Man's Bar. Visitors have described seeing shadowy figures flitting along the hallways or lingering near tables, vanishing when approached. Some witnesses claim to have seen apparitions dressed in period clothing, reminiscent of the dueling era, wandering silently as if replaying past grievances or moments of tension. Staff have noted that these figures often appear in areas associated with known historical incidents where fights broke out or accidents occurred, suggesting that the spirits remain tethered to the bar by the intensity of those events. These encounters are typically brief but leave a lasting impression, giving patrons the sense that they are sharing the space with lives that ended abruptly and tragically. Objects moving on their own are a common phenomenon at the Dead Man's Bar. Chairs have been observed rocking or tipping without contact. Glasses have shifted across tables, and doors have opened or slammed shut for no discernible reason. Staff often recount stories of cleaning or setting up the bar at night, only to find that items have been displaced when they return to the area. Patrons have also witnessed small objects, such as coasters or utensils, sliding along surfaces seemingly guided by invisible hands. These manifestations are subtle but persistent, reinforcing the notion that the bar is inhabited by forces unseen, replaying fragments of the lives that once filled the space. Cold gusts are another hallmark of the bar's haunting. Visitors frequently report sudden chills in specific corners or near stairways, even on warm evenings. Staff members often describe walking through the bar and encountering pockets of icy air that cannot be explained by ventilation or weather conditions. These gusts are often accompanied by other paranormal activity, such as the movement of objects or fleeting glimpses of shadowy figures, heightening the sense that the bar is alive with residual energy. Patrons sometimes feel these cold bursts as they sit alone or in quiet areas, creating a visceral reminder that the past is never far from the present. The history of the Dead Man's Bar helps explain its spectral presence. Savannah's historic district has seen its share of duels, disputes, and sudden deaths, and the bar itself was a gathering place for individuals whose lives were often marked by intensity and risk. The violent and mysterious events that took place on the premises are said to have left energetic imprints that continue to manifest in the form of ghostly sightings and unexplained phenomena. Some locals even believe that certain spirits are tied to the bar out of unfinished business, lingering to observe or interact with the living in subtle ways. Patrons often describe the bar as simultaneously thrilling and unnerving. The eerie experiences sightings, cold spots, and objects moving on their own are balanced by the bar's inviting atmosphere and the sense of history that permeates its walls. Paranormal enthusiasts are drawn to the Dead Man's Bar during late-night hours, hoping to capture evidence of the supernatural. Some have recorded fleeting shadows on camera, unexplained sounds, or temperature fluctuations that align with reports from previous visitors. Even without definitive proof, the consistency of these accounts over decades lends credibility to the idea that the bar is home to lingering spirits. Auditory phenomena are also common in the Dead Man's Bar. Patrons have reported hearing the faint shuffle of footsteps behind them when no one is present, whispered voices along the hallways, and the subtle creak of floorboards as if someone is pacing. Staff often experience these sounds while performing routine tasks late at night, and some describe hearing the clinking of glasses or cutlery moving when the bar is empty. These auditory experiences, combined with visual and tactile phenomena, create a layered sense of haunting that is both compelling and disquieting. Ultimately, the Dead Man's Bar is a place where history and the supernatural collide. Patrons enter expecting a night of drinks and camaraderie, but many leave with the impression that they have shared space with lingering spirits. The shadows, sudden chills, moving objects, and ghostly presences all contribute to an atmosphere that is both chilling and fascinating. In Savannah, a city renowned for its history and haunted reputation, the Dead Man's Bar stands out as a site where the past is never fully gone to space, where the echoes of duels, accidents, and lives cut short quietly persist, quietly observing, occasionally interacting, and leaving every visitor with an unforgettable experience. The Cat's Meow in San Francisco, California, is a bar that blends modern energy with the weight of history. Situated on land that has witnessed centuries of change, the bar has gained a reputation for being haunted, attracting patrons intrigued by its eerie reputation as well as its vibrant nightlife. Despite the contemporary and lively atmosphere, guests and staff have consistently reported unusual occurrences, fleeting shadows, strange noises with no apparent source, and sudden drops in temperature. These phenomena suggest that the Cat's Meow is more than just a gathering place. It is a site where multiple spirits from the past linger, quietly observing the living. Walking into the Cat's Meow, visitors are struck by the mixture of modern style and historic charm. Exposed brick walls, polished wooden floors, and carefully curated lighting create an inviting space for socializing. Yet, beneath this welcoming exterior, there is a subtle tension, a sense that unseen eyes are following patrons as they move through the bar. Staff often describe feeling sudden chills when entering certain corners or standing behind the bar alone, a sensation that seems to signal the presence of entities no longer of this world. Patrons, too, report moments when the atmosphere changes inexplicably, leaving them aware of a presence they cannot see. Fleeting shadows are among the most commonly reported phenomena at the Cat's Meow. Guests have described glimpsing figures moving across the walls or in the reflection of mirrors, only to vanish when observed directly. Some of these shadows are thought to be residual images of past visitors or long-dead residents of the area, their energy anchored to the building's historic foundations. Staff have noticed shadows moving along hallways or darting behind furniture during quiet hours, particularly near sections of the bar built over older structures. These visual experiences are often sudden and brief, but they leave a lingering impression that the bar is shared with more than just the living. Auditory phenomena add another layer to the hauntings at the Cat's Meow. Patrons have reported hearing unexplained footsteps, the soft murmur of conversation, or the distant clinking of glasses when no one is nearby. Staff recount hearing whispers behind closed doors, even when they are alone in the building. Occasionally, objects such as menus, napkins, or utensils appear to move slightly, without explanation, often accompanied by these mysterious sounds. The combination of visual and auditory disturbances creates a compelling, immersive experience for anyone present, reinforcing the idea that the spirits are actively interacting with the space. Temperature fluctuations are a particularly striking aspect of the Cat's Meow's paranormal activity. Sudden, localized drops in temperature are frequently reported by both staff and patrons, even on warm San Francisco evenings. Guests sitting near certain corners or hallways often feel a chill, sometimes accompanied by a sense of being observed. Staff members note that these cold spots often coincide with other phenomena, such as flickering lights, moving shadows, or unexplained noises. These temperature anomalies contribute to the overall feeling that the bar is alive with residual energy from its past. The history of the land beneath the Cat's Meow plays a significant role in its haunted reputation. Before the current establishment existed, the property hosted various buildings over the decades, including residences, shops, and possibly even boarding spaces. With such a long history, it is not surprising that multiple spirits might inhabit the area, some tied to specific events or locations within the bar. Local lore suggests that tragedies, disputes, and sudden deaths occurred on or near the site, leaving energetic imprints that continue to manifest as visual, auditory, and tactile phenomena. Patrons often describe a strong feeling of being watched during their time at the Cat's Meow. This sensation is subtle but persistent, sometimes manifesting as a faint pressure on the shoulders or the impression that someone is standing behind them. Staff frequently report this same sensation while performing tasks late at night or when the bar is empty, reinforcing the idea that the space is shared with unseen observers. These experiences often leave visitors with a sense of unease that lingers long after they have left the bar, cementing the Cat's Meow's reputation as a haunted location. Paranormal enthusiasts are drawn to the Cat's Meow for the opportunity to investigate and document these phenomena. Many have captured fleeting shadows on camera, recorded unexplained noises, or felt sudden temperature drops during their visits. While hard evidence is difficult to obtain, the consistency and volume of eyewitness accounts over the years suggest that something beyond the ordinary inhabits this bar. The multiple spirits said to reside here appear to interact subtly, creating an ongoing connection between the past and the present. Ultimately, the Cat's Meow is a place where history and the supernatural coexist alongside the laughter and conversation of the living. Patrons enter expecting a vibrant nightlife experience, but often leave with the sense that they have shared the space with entities who refuse to fade into memory. Shadows that vanish when observed, whispers that seem to come from nowhere, and sudden chills that cut through the warmth of the room all serve as reminders that the bar is more than it appears. In San Francisco, a city layered with history, the Cat's Meow stands as a testament to the lingering presence of the past, a place where spirits quietly observe, interact, and make their presence felt, leaving each visitor with an unforgettable, haunting experience. The Tipsy Tavern in Portland, Oregon, is a bar that balances warmth and intimacy with an undercurrent of mystery. Tucked into a quiet corner of the city, this cozy establishment has welcomed locals and travelers alike for decades, offering craft drinks, friendly conversation, and a charming atmosphere. But behind its inviting facade lies a darker side. Patrons and staff have long reported unexplained phenomena, from the sensation of hands brushing against shoulders when no one is nearby, to fleeting shadows and whispers that seem to emerge from empty corners. The bar's haunted reputation is closely tied to its history, with stories of patrons who met untimely ends and whose spirits are said to linger within its walls. Walking into the Tipsy Tavern, visitors immediately feel the duality of the space: warm, welcoming, and alive with laughter, yet subtly charged with the energy of the past. The bar's interior features dark wood furnishings, exposed beams, and vintage that evokes a sense of nostalgia. Soft lighting casts long shadows across the floor and walls, creating corners where the imagination and perhaps something more can roam freely. Staff often report a heightened awareness when passing through these dimly lit areas, describing the sensation of being watched or followed even when the bar is empty. Patrons, too, occasionally sense an unseen presence, a brush against their shoulder, or the feeling that someone has just passed by them without leaving a trace. One of the most common reports involves the sensation of invisible hands brushing against patrons or staff. Guests have described feeling a sudden touch on their shoulders or arms while seated or standing in otherwise empty areas. Staff have recounted similar experiences, particularly during late-night shifts when the bar is quiet. While these touches are never aggressive, they are unmistakable and often accompanied by a shiver or sudden chill. Some believe these sensations are linked to spirits of patrons who experience sudden or tragic deaths on the premises. Returning to the Tipsy Tavern in a subtle, tactile way, fleeting shadows and visual anomalies are another hallmark of the bar's paranormal activity. Patrons occasionally glimpse forms moving across their peripheral vision, only to vanish when they turn to look directly. Staff have reported seeing indistinct figures dart behind furniture or along the walls, sometimes appearing to linger near specific tables or corners before disappearing. These shadowy apparitions are often described as humanoid in shape, though lacking clear detail, giving the impression of observers rather than fully manifest spirits. Many visitors find these experiences both unsettling and fascinating. A reminder that the Tipsy Tavern is a place where the past is still very much present. Auditory phenomena further enhance the bar's haunted reputation. Guests have reported hearing soft whispers, footsteps on wooden floors, or the faint clinking of glass and silverware when no one else is nearby. Staff describe instances where they hear murmurs or conversations seemingly coming from the empty corners of the bar, only to find no one present. Occasionally, the sounds of laughter or sighs echo across the room, adding to the sense that the tavern is alive with unseen patrons from bygone days. These auditory experiences often occur alongside visual or tactile events, creating a layered haunting that is both immersive and disconcerting. Sudden cold spots are frequent. The Widows Inn Bar in Charleston, South Carolina, is a place where history, heartbreak, and the supernatural converge. Nestled within one of Charleston's oldest neighborhoods, the bar occupies a building steeped in stories of lost love, tragic deaths, and lives abruptly ended. Its warm, inviting atmosphere is juxtaposed with an unmistakable undercurrent of melancholy, a lingering echo of sorrow that seems to permeate every corner. Patrons and staff alike have reported seeing spectral figures in mourning attire, hearing soft sobbing from empty corners, and experiencing an inexplicable feeling of sadness that settles over the room without warning. The Widows Inn Bar is a place where the emotional energy of the past remains alive, creating an atmosphere that is haunting, poignant, and unforgettable. Upon entering the bar, visitors are immediately struck by its historic charm. Dark wooden floors creak beneath each step. Walls are adorned with antique mirrors and photographs of Charleston from centuries past, and flickering candlelight lighting casts long shadows that dance along the room. It is elegant yet somber, reflecting both the city's storied past and the tragic events associated with the building. Staff often describe a sense of presence when they move through the bar, especially near corners and alcoves where patrons seldom sit. Guests occasionally report sudden chills or an overwhelming sense of sadness, as if the emotional residue of past tragedies is seeping through the walls. One of the most striking aspects of the haunting is the appearance of figures in mourning attire. Witnesses have described seeing women in black dresses, veils obscuring their faces, standing silently in corners or near the bar. These apparitions often appear as if frozen in time, gazing into the distance or walking slowly along the edges of the room. Staff and patrons alike report that the figures vanish when approached, leaving behind only a lingering impression of grief. Some have speculated that these spirits may be women who lost their husbands to illness, duels, or maritime disasters, their sorrow so profound that it remains tied to the location. Soft sobbing is another common phenomenon at the Widows Inn bar. Guests have reported hearing gentle, sorrowful cries emanating from empty corners or from behind closed doors. Staff frequently experience these sounds late at night, describing them as distinct, human-like, and impossible to trace to any living source. Sometimes, the sobbing seems to float through the room, moving from one area to another, as if the spirits are reliving their grief in a loop that time cannot erase. The emotional weight of these sounds often leaves patrons feeling reflective, uneasy, or deeply empathetic toward the unseen mourners. Cold spots and sudden chills are also frequently reported. Patrons sitting near certain corners or along the perimeter of the bar sometimes feel icy gusts that contrast sharply with the warmth of the room. Staff members note that these cold zones often correspond with locations where ghostly figures or sounds have been observed, suggesting a physical manifestation of the spirit's energy. These chills, while subtle, can be unnerving, reinforcing the sense that the bar is more than just a social gathering spot. It is a vessel for the emotional residue of lives long past. Objects moving without explanation add another layer to the haunting. Guests have reported seeing chairs shift slightly, glasses wobble, or small items fall from shelves without any discernible cause, only to be found later in places where no one had moved them. These subtle manipulations of the physical environment serve as reminders that the spirits are not only present but capable of interacting with the living in quiet, persistent ways. The history of the Widows Inn bar helps illuminate the source of these hauntings. Charleston, with its long maritime history and rich colonial past, has witnessed countless personal tragedies. The building that houses the bar has long been associated with tales of love lost and lives ended prematurely, particularly during epidemics, duels, and accidents that were all too common in past centuries. Many believe that the emotional intensity of these events has left lasting impressions, anchoring spirits to the bar and prompting the spectral phenomena witnessed by modern visitors. Patrons often describe the atmosphere as simultaneously warm and unsettling. While the bar offers excellent drinks, live music, and convivial energy, the lingering presence of grief creates an emotional depth that sets it apart from other establishments. Paranormal enthusiasts frequently visit, hoping to capture evidence of the figures in mourning attire, the sobbing, or the subtle movements of objects. Some have succeeded in recording unexplained sounds or fleeting shadows, though the strongest evidence often remains the impressions left on the senses. The feeling of being watched, the sudden chill, or the soft echo of sorrow. Ultimately, the Widows Inn bar is a space where the past and present coexist. Patrons enter expecting a friendly, historic bar experience, but often leave with a sense that they have shared space with spirits still tied to their grief. Figures in mourning attire, whispered sobs, sudden cold spots, and subtle object movement all contribute to an atmosphere that is poignant, eerie, and emotionally resonant. In Charleston, a city known for its rich history and haunted locales, the Widows Inn bar stands as a testament to the enduring presence of human emotion, a place where sorrow lingers, quietly observed and felt by all who enter its doors. The Phantom Saloon in Nashville, Tennessee, is a bar that perfectly blends the energy of live music with the eerie presence of the supernatural. Nestled in the heart of the city's famed music district, the saloon has long been a gathering place for musicians, performers, and music lovers alike. Its lively atmosphere and reputation for great live performances make it a popular destination. Yet beneath the vibrant melodies lies a darker, more mysterious side. Patrons and staff have consistently reported ghostly activity, including instruments playing on their own, apparitions appearing in mirrors, and shadowy figures moving through the dimly lit corners. The Phantom Saloon is not just a venue for music, it is a place where the echoes of the past still resonate, sometimes literally, through the walls. Upon entering the Phantom Saloon, visitors are immediately struck by the blend of historic charm and musical energy. The bar's wooden floors creak underfoot, and walls are adorned with photographs of past performers, old guitars, and memorabilia chronicling Nashville's storied music history. Stage lights flicker across the room, casting long shadows that shift with the movements of both patrons and spirits. Staff often describe an odd sensation while walking through the bar, as though invisible eyes are tracking their every step. Guests have reported similar feelings, sensing the presence of unseen observers while enjoying the lively performances. One of the most frequently reported phenomena is the spontaneous playing of instruments. Musicians setting up for a performance have noted guitars strumming, piano keys pressing, or drum beats echoing when no one is near. These occurrences are often subtle, at first soft plucks of a guitar string, or a few quiet taps on the drums, but they sometimes escalate into full melodies that appear impossible to produce without a performer. Staff and patrons alike have witnessed these instruments moving on their own during quieter hours, reinforcing the belief that the saloon is inhabited by restless spirits, many of whom were musicians themselves. Mirrors within the Phantom Saloon also seem to act as portals for spectral activity. Patrons have reported seeing ghostly figures reflected in mirrors, sometimes standing behind them or moving across the room. These figures often appear only briefly, vanishing when observed directly, leaving behind a sense of unease. Musicians, in particular, have noticed their reflections being joined by shadowy forms, as if invisible audiences are silently observing their performances. Some have speculated that these apparitions are former performers or patrons who never truly left the saloon, their love of music anchoring them to the venue. Auditory phenomena are a constant presence in the Phantom Saloon. Patrons have reported faint whispers, echoes of past conversations, and occasional laughter or sighs when no one else is nearby. Staff recount moments when the sounds of footsteps, moving furniture, or even a distant crowd can be heard, despite the bar being empty. These auditory experiences often accompany the playing of instruments or the appearance of shadowy figures, creating a multi-sensory haunting that is both immersive and unnerving. Visitors frequently describe feeling as if they are sharing the room with an audience that exists out of time, observing, listening, and occasionally interacting with the living. Cold spots are another signature of the saloon's paranormal activity. Guests sitting near the stage, bar, or certain corners often feel sudden drops in temperature, even on warm evenings. Staff note that these cold areas tend to coincide with reported ghostly encounters, such as moving instruments or mirror apparitions. The abruptness of the chill, coupled with the persistent feeling of being watched, reinforces the sense that the Phantom Saloon is a space where the past lingers, and the energy of bygone musicians continues to ripple through the room. The history of the Phantom Saloon helps explain its spectral reputation. Nashville, with its rich musical heritage, has seen countless performers pour their lives into their craft, some of whom passed away suddenly or tragically. The saloon itself has been a stage for numerous artists, many of whom reportedly returned as spirits to linger in the spaces where they once played. Some locals believe that certain apparitions are tied to particularly passionate performances or dramatic events, replaying fragments of the past that are forever etched into the building's energy. Many patrons are drawn to the Phantom Saloon not only for its music, but also for the possibility of encountering the paranormal. Visitors, hoping for ghostly experiences, often choose late-night performances or quiet hours to explore the space. Some have captured fleeting shadows in photographs, recorded unexplained sounds, or witnessed instruments moving without human contact. Even those who do not actively seek supernatural encounters often leave with the sense that the saloon is alive in more ways than one, a place where the living and the spectral coexist in a delicate, haunting harmony. Ultimately, the Phantom Saloon is a venue where music and the supernatural intertwine. Patrons enter expecting lively performances, drinks, and camaraderie. but many leave with the awareness that they have shared the space with spirits who remain devoted to the bar and its melodies. Ghostly figures in mirrors, instruments playing themselves, unexplained sounds, and sudden cold spots all contribute to an atmosphere that is simultaneously electrifying and unsettling. In Nashville, a city renowned for its musical legacy, the Phantom Saloon stands as a reminder that the passion, energy, and emotion of the past never truly fade. They echo invisibly through every note, shadow, and whispered sound, leaving every visitor with a haunting, unforgettable experience. The Gilded Lily in Miami, Florida, is a bar that effortlessly blends modern style with echoes of a vintage past. Located in a bustling district, it draws in a lively crowd eager for craft cocktails and contemporary ambience. Yet beneath its polished exterior lies a lingering history that refuses to be forgotten. Patrons and staff have long reported supernatural experiences, unexplained shadows darting across the room, sudden chills, and whispers of voices warning of unseen danger. Much of this activity is attributed to the bar's former owner, a figure whose life and presence left an indelible mark on the space, creating a haunting that persists decades later. From the moment guests step inside the Gilded Lily, they can sense the interplay between elegance and mystery. The bar's interior features sleek furniture, ambient lighting, and subtle nods to its past in the form of vintage photographs, antique mirrors, and historic. Yet, among the modern charm, there is a distinct energy, a subtle tension that some describe as the lingering presence of someone who refuses to leave. Staff frequently remark on the feeling of being watched, particularly late at night when the bar empties and the energy of the day fades. Patrons often notice sudden drops in temperature or a sense that someone is standing nearby, even when no one is present. One of the most commonly reported phenomena at the Gilded Lily involves unexplained shadows. Guests have described seeing dark forms moving along walls or across the floor, sometimes pausing near tables or behind the bar. These shadows appear and vanish suddenly, often leaving a lingering unease. Staff members, particularly those working late-night shifts, have recounted instances where shadows seem to follow their movements or disappear as they turn to investigate. Many believe that these shadows are manifestations of the former owner, who remains attached to the space out of devotion, unfinished business, or lingering pride in the establishment he once ran. Auditory experiences are another hallmark of the Gilded Lily's hauntings. Patrons have reported hearing whispers that seem to issue from empty corners, often warning of unseen danger or repeating fragmented phrases. Staff have also noted hearing their names called in hushed tones or conversations drifting through the room when no one is present. These whispers are typically soft, fleeting, and impossible to locate, yet they leave a lasting impression on anyone who experiences them. The presence of these sounds adds to the sense that the bar is inhabited by someone who is actively observing and interacting with the living, albeit in a subtle and enigmatic manner. Cold spots are frequently reported throughout the bar, particularly near areas historically associated with the former owner. Patrons sitting at certain tables or standing near the bar often feel sudden, inexplicable chills, sometimes accompanied by the sensation of a presence nearby. Staff have observed these cold pockets during late-night cleaning or closing shifts, noting that they often coincide with other paranormal activity, such as moving shadows or disembodied whispers. These chilling moments are never violent, but they are unmistakable, reinforcing the sense that the past continues to inhabit the present in a tangible, physical way. The history of the Gilded Lily provides insight into its haunting. Decades ago, the bar's original owner built the establishment with care and passion, dedicating much of his life to its operation. Stories from the time suggest he was deeply invested in the success of the bar, and his sudden passing left unresolved concerns and attachments to the space. Many believe that the intensity of his presence, combined with a life abruptly ended, created energetic imprints that persist. These imprints are thought to manifest as the shadows, voices, and sensations reported by modern patrons. creating a bridge between the past and the present that cannot easily be broken. Visitors often describe the bar as simultaneously elegant and unsettling. While the atmosphere is lively and welcoming, the subtle paranormal elements, shadows, whispers, and cold gusts create a depth and intrigue that sets the Gilded Lily apart from other contemporary bars. Paranormal enthusiasts frequently visit late at night, hoping to document these experiences with cameras or audio equipment. Some have captured fleeting shadows or unexplained sounds, while others simply feel the presence of someone watching over the bar. Particularly in the quiet hours after closing, the Gilded Lily's hauntings are not violent or threatening, but they are undeniably real for those who experience them. Patrons and staff often describe a sense of connection to the former owner, as if his presence continues to protect, monitor, or guide the establishment in subtle ways. The shadows, whispers, and sudden chills all serve as reminders that the bar is more than a modern nightlife venue. It is a space layered with history, memory, and lingering emotion. Ultimately, the Gilded Lily stands as a unique testament to the coexistence of the living and the spectral. Patrons enter expecting craft cocktails, music, and conversation, yet many leave with the sense that they have shared the space with someone from the past. Shadows that vanish when observed, whispered warnings from empty corners, and sudden cold spots create an atmosphere that is both thrilling and eerie. In Miami, a city known for its vibrant culture and layered history, the Gilded Lily remains a place where the echoes of a devoted former owner continue to linger, quietly observing and interacting with the living, leaving every visitor with an unforgettable, haunting experience. These 25 haunted bars remind us that history doesn't always stay buried, and neither do the spirits who lived it. Whether you're a paranormal enthusiast or a casual thrill seeker, visiting these haunted pubs is a brush with the unknown, a step into stories that never truly ended. So next time you raise a glass, remember, you might not be drinking alone. Thanks for joining us on this chilling journey through America's most haunted bars. Stay brave, stay curious, and until next time, keep your lights on and your spirits close.